character sheet, my character sheet on the in the drive, or where is that?
Give me just 1 second. I will get that uploaded to the drive with your character name. Lawrence, would you mind popping in on the YouTube video since you're also in here and just letting me know like if at any point it is like like visually stuttering and like if you could peek into the audio every now and then and just like because I don't know how my
Yeah, is all
connection
this
is here.
been on the YouTube? Is
Yeah, no, 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 no. I hit live when you asked about character sheet.
okay,
I'm
okay, good.
I'm professional enough to know when a conversation is meant for live and when it is not meant for live.
Okay, okay, cool.
Fucking love that. And I'm
Oh.
saving it. I'll save the VOD. Don't worry.
uh, oh, clipped and
I know
posted.
just who to send it to.
Absolutely torch this man. I was really trying to pull extra info out just to see what I could get out of you. So I'm glad that we caught that in the clippable.
Wearing a wire.
Yep. No, no, of course it was off the air. Um, yeah. Let's see. Oh, good. Because so I cleared all of my internet cookies and shit, and it of course logs you out of a few websites. One of the ones it logged me out of was the Drive. And for the course of me owning a Drive, I've used my first email address, and then I added several more on top of that. Now, when I signed back into the Drive, I accidentally signed in with a second one. So now every time I go to the Drive, it goes to that other one first, and I have to like switch accounts every time for my main account. The most annoying fuck up I could have made. File upload. I have it here, I think. There. We're gonna name you. Yes. The thing. So I like your name so much because it also plays on that thing. Hyatt Coke not found. No, that makes sense that it's not found. Oh, I have to rename it after I post it. Um,
Cola.
yeah, Hyatt Cola.
I Coke.
You're right. Hyatt Cola. Did I put Hyatt Coke on the stream? Oh, we're not looking at that now. Awesome. Looking at all my files. Cool. I did put Hyatt Cola correct. Okay, cool. All right. So one more check. I put it up there. It's just called Gabe's character for right now. Hyatt Cola. There you go. Yeah. Yes. We'll go. You looked at the list of items, so I didn't send it to you. I just showed you on my phone. Is that correct?
Um,
Like starting items?
yeah, we never really went through the items.
Correct, correct. Okay, that's easy to shore up real quick. I just have to find where I did it on my phone, I'm pretty sure. Did I do it here? Cool, so I did it on my computer somewhere. Oh, boy. Okay, we open this up. So what is doing that? What is capping all of that? We don't need this. Good lord.
You look fine.
Okay. Did I put it at the bottom of this page? I could have swore I added another page.
Did I pick a move for my human race?
Yeah, you sure did. You started, I think, whichever one you picked first. I think you started with Inquisitive Intuition.
Okay. I just wanted
Uh,
to make sure. I wasn't sure.
yeah, because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these checked. and then one below, which is, yeah, that would make sense for being level 6 with a bonus one. Is that you have 6 checked. Shoot.
Okay, cool. Yes.
File, open, see if it's in this. Shoot, I was pretty proud of that too, that list that I wrote up. But I don't know if it got saved. It's not in my phone. Okay, okay. Let me look at, how can I
Gonna
do
say
that?
again, this character sheet is excellent.
Yes, thank you very much. I had the template and I just kind of plugged and played, but 90, half of it is made up, half of it is reflavored from other stuff, and
You plugged and played the hell out of this.
mm-hmm.
I'm very pleased. I know that it's built like specifically for the character I had in mind, but dang, it's
It,
so
it
good.
it is. It's half. I mean, it's half built to fit into our world, and half built because, like, at some point I was like, well, you're not going to interact with all of this, so what can I do? Like, I wanted to give other ways to play the character, even though you wouldn't do that, because you have a way you're doing that, and like, not all of these would make sense to your play, but it could to someone's play. Yeah. So, okay, let's see. You start with a one of your choices was a weapon. Fuck, where did I do this?
Yo, there's a Krispy Kreme less than a block away.
Pretty cool, pretty cool.
I like the sound of that.
Okay. Okay, I can get down with that.
How is the Lowe's? I've never stayed at a Lowe's before. I've worked at one in St. Louis,
It's
but
nice. It's nice.
Yeah, Lowe's Lumberyard.
I don't know. I don't know. It's nice. Nothing. It's a nice
I
hotel.
hate it because I need a fridge. God, I need a fridge. I always bring things for a fridge, and whenever they have a fridge that is just full of things that if I touch, they make me pay,
oh, is it
then
one of
I'm grumpy.
those?
Yeah, the fridge is not
80% is one of
accessible,
those.
unfortunately.
It is
Everything
a
in there is
luxury
for
hotel
sale.
brand.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we don't have to worry about weight for now because when I looked at everything, unless, like, even if you took the heaviest of everything, you would still be under whatever your weight was after I'd worked that out. So I can get us through with the basics and I'll just tally the weight of your choices later. Because no matter what, you won't be overweight. And for this first mission, it's not right. It's not going to be about picking up items. So the choices of weapons, you wanted a melee based, we wanted it kind of flavored in the direction of body mods from Cyberpunk. So I kind of gave you those options. I gave you 3 options. One I think I called Iron Knuckles, and it is the idea of the like metal hands, right? Their weight was a
He-
little. What's up?
Here was a question that I had, is that I thought that the the supplies were the body mods. Like the quote unquote magic in the way that BBW does magic were the body mods.
So I think that it can be the way that it has been built here is that the body mods or the supplies for the mission, like it's built into BBW's body because that's a part of being an android, is that he doesn't have weight for any of his machines because they are a part of him as a robot. So your stuff has a weight, and it's like, I think 1 or 2 weight for the whole, like, no matter how many supplies you have, it's the same amount. I think it was like 1 weight for the box that you put your supplies into. And they're just like small little mechanical trinkets that do these things. So they're still magic. You just pull them from a box and
I'm
throw them.
I'm happy.
We can flavor it to have it
Yeah,
modded to your skin or whatever you want. The weight
I
will still carry
I'm
because you have this.
I'm very happy for there to be a weight associated with the supplies. Just because that makes sense because I'm putting a bunch of metal inside of me. Um, I would imagine that my items are things that I carry. Sort of my utility belt or weapons or whatever.
Uh,
Like if my body mods are an additional weight on top of the items I carry, that's super fine.
so I had items in there. It
You're
sounded
muted.
like uh I don't know how.
You're still
I know
muted. Okay.
I don't know what button I hit to have muted myself, but I re-hit that button. Oh, I do know what button. LOL. Okay. Yes. Okay, so I still had you carrying most of your stuff. Oh, Lawrence left, so I can hold on. Oh, come on. Dude, that's dumb. Um, okay, well, since Lawrence left, I'm gonna do a fucking screen share, I guess, since it won't matter. Oh, can I
For
mute
why?
this? Sorry, one second. I have the because I have my camera set up to capture our screens with Lawrence's camera in there, and now
I
it's all out of place. So I just wanted to. Okay, cool. Oh, hey, that's your sheet anyway. Um, okay, so totally fine with you modding your supplies of the mission into your body. We can say that like it sounds probably something like your torso is like adaptable. They can slide these in.
I
Maybe your arms and your legs as well. Maybe your whole body is mechanically adaptable.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was thinking a la Cyberpunk is that it's main based on what I was reading of the supplies. It was mainly arm based. It was like canisters that I could load into arm implants, and the arm implants themselves are the weight that I'm carrying.
Okay.
Um,
Uh, Okay, that is fine. I have to then rethink just like because it's that you wanted melee. That had been the thing you talked about to me is that you wanted to be like you wanted to use your fists to do the talking.
mhm.
And so I had
Yep, I'm
given
a
you three
I'm a punch
weapons.
boy.
Yep, I had given you three weapons that were hand-based combat. And I had them cyberpunked into your skin, a la cyberpunk. To be just part of you. I'd imagine this one doesn't get changed out unless you go through some process. Like this is probably your first mod, I'd imagine, just because it's like your main weapon, right? Like it's the weapon that you stick
It
with. Whereas your
it
supplies
came with the
change.
arm. It came with the arm
I love
mods.
that. I love that entirely. So the
I'm
choices
even I'm even happy to sacrifice one of my supplies to be a permanent arm mod if that's
now
necessary.
because to me
Okay.
the flavor the flavor is that you have the weight of it, right? You have it's just in this case, rather than the flavor being little trinkets you pull out of a box, it's just in your arm, and that's okay. Like you still
Mhm.
carry the weight of it, so that's not huge. Okay, so the options that I had in place were iron fists, just metal,
Okay.
right? Blunt damage. The concept here was that they would be a little forceful and messy because it just sounds like you can't be unless you choke someone to death. You can't punch someone with an iron fist unmessily.
I like that. I do like the idea of like skin colored metal fists that have like
Well, let me get through the options because you have some
okay,
options. So those are flat metal. It's like blunt damage that causes damage. The second option is called the
certainly.
knuckle points, and they are implants on your knuckles that are pointed. So always brass knuckles. The thing about the iron hands is that you get +1 to damage flat because it's just like sheer smack 'em damage. Knuckle
Okay.
points are +1 to piercing always. So you get through one shield off the bat with that. Not, I mean, so technically, if they have shield, it's a +1 to damage. If they don't, it's not. But in that case, that could be helpful. That's knuckle points.
Okay.
That
Interesting.
also felt messy to me. Less forceful, but still messy. Because you're like I felt like the punching of someone to death with knuckle points is going to be bloody.
I'm not super well versed in the weapon tags, so I'll follow your lead on that. So I can't
There aren't
I can't say whether or not there's a different tag. That sounds right to me.
it yeah, there
I'm
aren't a
leaving a
ton
hole
of
in people.
tags. Yeah, so the it's sort of a negative narrative tag is what these feel like, messy and forceful. And I only gave them because you have +1 to damage or a +1 to piercing, and that felt like a fair trade there. The third option, mantis blades. It's not punching, but they come out of your arm. They're silent and stealthy, so like people don't know that you have them unless they're well versed in biotech and you're showing your arms basically. You know what I mean? But they're
Yeah.
stealthy and they're silent. No pluses beyond that, but they are mantis blades. So less brute force. You still use your hands. They're just like blades off your arms.
If I go with iron knuckles, can they still look like person hands? Can they still be like skin colored?
Just like the flat iron hands.
Yeah, just like can they be painted skin tones so that because like a lot of my character is built around like blending in and not showing my teeth until it explicitly necessary.
This makes sense. I think you have. So your hands are just a little bit bigger than they should be, hands down.
That's fine.
But there
I'm
is a
I'm
layer of skin over the top of them, so they look like just big hands. That layer breaks really, really easily. So if you're like punching someone, the metal will show.
okay. Okay.
You can have it repaired. I think you might even have like a small repair kit for that on you somewhere. Very easy.
Like a little spray
It might take
I
some
can
time
just
to
sort of
set up, but something like that. But I think it breaks easily. But when it,
I'm here for that
they
because
know that you're punching them when you're punching them, so it's not a big deal what you're punching them with.
I think I'm gonna go with the iron knuckles then because I'm already thinking along the lines of like Kronk or have you read most of the Adventure Zone comics?
No, I have not read them.
Oh,
No,
you should. I
sure.
the um Captain Bane, the art of him is another sort of inspiration. Let me see if I can quick pull up
Um,
uh
if you wanted some stealth, I think in the same way that your hands are bigger, if you like the knuckle points, you can go that route and just have larger knuckles and have them be able to extend, break that skin barrier uh
I
when you
think I'd
activate them.
rather
So it's just, since we're adding this sort of skin shield in there already, I think any one of them can be kind of stealthy. The mantis blades being the most stealthy, but
I think I'd rather have the iron knuckles. That seems the most because his whole shit is y- you know be in disguise until you need to use force and then use overwhelming force. Um,
makes sense. Makes
it's-
sense. As far as armor goes, you had a choice of different armors than you've had yet. One was Vulcanized.
Just sent you an image uh in the live chat
Mhm.
of I that of Captain Bane that the comic referenced. I don't have a mustache. I don't know quite what I look like, but if you ask me what I look like, then I will have to describe it. So
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to describe it, definitely. Okay. Yeah, 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 big, bulky, thick.
yeah, top heavy a little bit.
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll definitely describe that shortly.
All right.
So armor, you have the option of it was the vulcanized leather, hmm. I'm mad that none of this saved because I had it all actually done. Let's see. Merchants. Vulcanized leather is just a flat 2 armor. Or you could take Iranian laced leather. It's 1 armor, and I wanted to say we didn't get a chance to talk about it. I put a stealthy tag on it, but I wanted to leave that open to what that meant because we know what Irinia does. When it's laced into armor, I wanted to like talk about, if you like that, it's a little more stealthy. It has less armor, but what that really means when it's laced into armor, whether that's you can maybe do better defy dangers when trying not to be seen, when trying to go unnoticed, something like that.
Like sort of a like a camo armor
Yeah, I think that
kind
I
of a
think I
notion.
think that might have been what I was going for. Something sort of like base it refracts just enough light so that if you're, it gives you a +1 to those stealth checks so that if you hide, they just didn't see you. Like you're a little stealthier.
I mean I enjoy the utility of that, but that doesn't feel like who this character is. I think the two armor makes more sense for him.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, I think that makes I think that would track for Agent Cola.
Definitely. 30 coins you start with. I remember
Me?
that. Yep. And then you had to choose 2 from a
Okay.
list of one was your basic energy pistol because you don't have any ranged, and I thought it might make sense that you have like an issued pistol, so that's on the list. 2 flashbang grenades is one option.
Okay.
One time use. They're there, they're gone.
Certainly, they're grenades.
The pistol comes with an ammo canister for it. 2 health poultices is one to heal people. I had a couple more options. Oh, no, 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 it's a choose one because I didn't have many more options. So it's pistol, it's flashbangs, it's health potions, and it's the same choice that everyone else has gotten, and that is the energy shield. Gives you another +1 to armor if you use it.
I I don't that's interesting. That's a character choice right there. Um I think I'm gonna go with the energy shield because I think Agent Cola is a close and dirty fighter. He doesn't like ranged combat isn't his vibe. If we're in ranged combat, that generally means he hasn't blown his cover yet. And so he's gonna play whatever persona he's gonna play until he can get close enough to the target or opponent to you know to beat wholesale ass.
Mhm. Mhm. All right. So we have items chosen. Let's see. I'm gonna write down the choices we've made here. Iron knuckles. Um, plus leather, and 30 coins, 30G,
So I
and
just so I'm super clear. So I have 3 armor.
yes,
Okay,
yes, total 3 armor. Um, three
got it.
armor. Your max health is 8 plus con, which is 1, so 9
Nice armor bonus,
armor bonus. Yeah,
health
huge,
health bonus.
yeah, small health bonus there with the con. Huge bonus to I feel armor. 3 armor
Oh
is
yeah, the armor
huge.
three three armor is enormous. I was already feeling pretty good when I was cookie and I had 2 armor. 3 armor's wild.
Yeah, 100%. So I'd literally have just thrown in. Wait, was this? Did I put that on the wrong page? Oh my god, I did. Yeah, I've marked at the bottom of our document over here the choices that you've made for that, in case they get lost again for
I
some
just
reason.
put I just put down my armor and health in
Yeah,
the document you've shared. So
for sure, for sure. Anything else from this? Oh, I was thinking about your one pre-bond, and I thought that it could make sense that your pre-bond is with your buddy, your agent in
oh, it's
training.
absolutely with my buddy.
Yeah.
It's
What?
either keep him safe, but he seems like he's capable of taking care of himself. So maybe it's repay him for services rendered, or it's sort of no, here it is. Here it is. I am lawful with the exception of advancing his like agenda. Like if I can do something to improve his station in the underworld, I will go outside of company procedure to like if he has a side mission for me, I'll get it done to improve his position to get me better intel. Like I'm like it's a reciprocal relationship because we have this history.
Okay.
So he'll help me with intel, but I will help him with his social standing to get me better intel.
Okay, so to frame as a bond, maybe it's that you owe him for whatever his name is. We should name him.
Yeah, I should stop.
Saved
I
your
should stop thinking
hide.
of him as Scruffy. Um,
Saved your hide in a recent mission.
it's
And you want to repay that debt?
I
I'm just trying to figure out how to make it an actionable sentence for you to be able to make experience off of and advance a relationship.
um Scruffy Scruffy threw away his old life for me. I need to help him rebuild a new life I will do what I can to rebuild a new life for him in this new situation.
Okay.
Something of that sort, I think.
Yeah, I think that it's probably not something that we will smash out on this first episode,
I'm not doing
so
a scruffy
we
mission
should
this
definitely,
first
yeah,
episode now.
frame, we'll work on framing that, but it's with Scruffy. It's your bond with Scruffy. I just want to make sure there's
I
nothing else we need
I'm
to.
all I'm definitely not fulfilling a scruffy I'm not fulfilling any bonds in this pre-session.
No, 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 no.
Yeah,
But it's just good to know.
for sure.
So Cola, do you have an office? You're level 6 now.
Where?
You've on the so we're talking we're home. We're on the back Atmos Galactic Orbiter. At the home
No.
offices, you do not have an office. What is your work life?
Where where are we kicking off? Because in our conversation, it felt like I had arrived.
I mean, I had a little intro thing for you. I just need to figure out how to frame that. In my brain, it was coming from your office, but if you don't have an office, what is
Not
like your do you have a desk? What is your station like at at the home office when you're in between missions? You have paperwork to do, you have,
Oh, in between missions?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Because when we chatted, it sounded like I was being fired in
You
a
gotta you
sub
gotta
light
play the story
speed.
out with me so that we can get to that
Okay, I
point. I'm trying to intro us into these things
okay.
so that we are narratively being fired out of a cannon.
Well, you said at the back Atmos station,
The
so it
gala
sounded
yeah,
like
the
I'd already arrived.
no, the Galactic Orbiter, main home base for everything, like where
Okay,
Cookie
I
met the
see.
rest of the crew. Initially, you guys all got aboard a ship and left the orbiter, and guys talked on the ship for the very first time. That's where everyone got introduced. Just leaving the Galactic Orbiter, 100%.
I don't know that that was clear to us, but all right. Um, that the orbiter was different from
The
the Delta
main
Dawn station.
100%. I spent like 20 minutes in narration, like making that an important distinction. Uh, Yep, I
Okie
spent
doke.
a bunch of time
Okay.
describing the history of this place and then talking about how you guys met up at a place and got fired out of a for sure, for sure, for sure. That was like 6 months ago, but
I
definitely. And then I
I
edited
I
through it
I
again.
believe you'll have to go back to episode one, I guess, and re-listen to see that you're right. Um, well then I'm sure that I do have at home base at like main office. I'm sure that we have an entire wing. The invasive species agency has
Yeah.
an entire wing of the orbiter, and
Yeah, so the Galactic Orbiter is like
I don't
a
spend
it's a bit it's a ship that I had stated was like 4 times the size of Saturn, right? This is a this houses cultures upon cultures upon cultures of people from many, many places. The
yeah.
main
Okay.
city is called Coranu, and imagine like the biggest New York you can imagine. Buildings on buildings on buildings. There is like
It's
it's an
as if
yeah,
like as if New York was the size of the state and not the city.
correct. Yep, and
Okay.
yep, you have open skies because as far up as you can see, like you see eventually you'll see like the bubble dome keeping you guys safe.
I
This
I
is where the center of culture is for our known universe. This is where the Delta crews like this is where they do their like they pull people in, they ship them out from here to a station.
the
Um
onboarding.
yeah, the onboarding. The invasive species committee is definitely a you have a huge building here
Okay,
in the
it's
main.
not a it's not a wing. It's like city sized in a state sized city.
Yeah, it's like a
So
huge
yeah,
organization in this, and it's government
yeah,
run
we
for sure.
certainly. Um, there I have a desk. I don't spend a lot of time in the desk. I spend more time um sort of out and about in the city because the social game is where I live. I'm an undercover investigator. Um, so I do have a desk. I'm probably though I'm 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 wandering a market district, or I'm out in the life of the city. Um
More
and
often than
I've yeah, more often than not. If I, unless I have like paperwork to do, I'm out sort of culturally educating myself, sort of learning how to better blend in with any environment.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and this
Yeah.
is definitely a place to do that. You wouldn't have access to more cultures pretty much anywhere that I mean, anywhere that you've been on your missions. This is the center of culture exchange. So it definitely makes sense that you, as an agent who does this kind of work, is constantly trying to ingratiate or yeah yourself in that. Um, on one of these off days where you do find yourself at your desk filling out some paperwork, it's been quite a few hours of this paperwork. You yourself haven't been sleeping too well lately. You've been having some nightmares lately. And I'd like you to talk to us a little bit about this is a very targeted question because we've spoken, but it fits here. Why has Hyatt Cola found himself a part of the invasive species committee?
Do you want me to answer that directly, or do you want me to answer that through the narrative of my nightmares?
Let's answer that through the narrative of the nightmares. The
Okay.
nightmares are sort of, you know, they're a holdback from this event that has happened. What does this look like through your eyes?
Yeah. Okay. So my nightmares take place on my home planet, Mars Prime. I am 12 to 14. I'm adolescent. I'm coming home from the academy that my family has sent me to, the Cola family, from a long line of colas. Um Diet, Cherry, Starlight, the colas.
Diet.
Uh uh I shouldn't crack up at my own jokes. Anywho, I'm coming home from the academy. I'm coming home. I'm excited to tell my mother about the things that I've learned today. I'm looking forward to that. We always have a chat over jasmine tea, that the cricket folk make for us. Um, and I'm thinking about the things I want to tell her, and I arrive at the the gated house that we live in. It's a multi-story house with a large wrought star metal gate embossed with the cola insignia. And today I feel a pit of dread because I know what's going to happen. I've had this dream many times. um, and I see the harbinger of this dream, because sometimes I'll have a dream where I come home from the academy and I talk to my mother, and I have this conversation, and we talk about what's happened in the day, because I have a lot of dreams about my life before the academy. I don't have any dreams about my life during my time with the agency. That is my life. That's not the before times. I
Mhm.
have dreams about the before times, or the time. But this dream is a dream of the time. And the thing that signifies that it is a dream of the time is that I come to the gate, and the gate is already open. And I stand perplexed for a moment, and then I step through. Perhaps it was left open. Perhaps they got word from the academy that I was coming. So, they've opened the gate for me preemptively. How nice of them. Um, and I walk up the brick pathway to my house, and I'm coming up the stairs to the front door, and the front door opens, and my 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 younger sister comes out, and she looks almost like she did in my usual dreams, except that on closer inspection, she has something growing out of her, sort of it's sort of like a reverse beard a little bit. It's little growths that come out of the cheeks, sort of like Wolverine's sideburns a little bit,
Mm.
except they don't grow down. They're like up and V out. They're white. Like bone white. Like fluorescent, almost glow in the dark white. Um and she comes, she opens the doorway, and I pause on the stairs because this is different. There's never been white coming out of her before. Um
In the
and
dreams or in
in
life?
in life,
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
in
okay.
life. In the dream I pause.
This
In
is
life
okay, yeah.
she hadn't, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Um and she she comes out toward me a in sort of, it seems like a daze, in sort of a fever haze, kind of a, if you've ever seen someone try and function for themselves while sick, in that sort of
Or,
stumbly
like, under
way,
shock, basically?
under shock, or like their their control over their body is less than optimal.
Mhm.
um and I think I'll step out of the first person perspective, and basically I will say that um I I tried to figure out what was wrong, but like a much like a zombie, there was no reasoning with this iteration of my sibling. It was a um I mean, it was just sort of an attempt to infect on her part, or its part, or whatever. Whoever had the wheel at this point.
Mhm.
Um,
I think this is a great
and
moment. I think this is a great moment that you wake up in a start. Um,
we don't have to deal with the rest of the dream,
I think the rest of the dream will come up.
or the memory, that is. Yeah,
I think that
I
the rest of that
there's
will continue to come up.
I think that it ends then in a lunge, that becomes a confrontation, uh but the lunge is where I wake up.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. The memory obviously continued beyond this moment. But as your
Certainly. It was a very
sister,
bad day, and we can talk about that very bad day when prompted.
I think that we will for sure. As your sister leaps off of the steps, you wake up in a start, head pulling back from your desk, sending a few papers, um, coming across
Oh,
the
shit.
room,
I had this dream at work?
and you
Mm.
are taking a moment to like catch your breath and steady yourself. Like you are at your desk, everything is fine, no one is like everyone's not like staring at you, everything is okay, you didn't make a scene. But there is a light blinking on your phone. Very You're used to this light. It comes on all the time when the director wants to speak to you. Most of the time it means you have a mission.
All right. Well, is it a answer the phone, or is it a come to my office
This is a come to my
kind of a
office kind of, yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
kind of a light. All right. Then I'll press the button next to the light to show that I've acknowledged the summons, and I will head to the elevator and go up to the second to the top floor. The top floor is for our aircraft, for like helicopters and gliders or whatever, flight stuff. But the penultimate floor is the executive wing, and I head up to floor 29, and I get out of the elevator, and I head down the hallway. There's only four offices on the executive wing. There's the director's office at the end of the hallway. There's the Intel chairman, the combat chairman, and the
Cook chairman.
that's the Intel chairman. And the other chair.
And the other one, the robotics, the technology chairman, chairman of tech,
Yeah. Okay, the tech chairman. Yeah, tech chair, int chair, and punch chair. No,
punch
combat
chair.
chair.
Um, Perfect.
But I'm headed to the director's office, so I head all the way down the hallway, and I knock on the door.
You hear a come in from inside, and as you enter, the director, a wide, tall, bald human man, sits behind his desk. He is typing on a keyboard. He has several monitors around the desk. Um,
Mm,
the
love
reflection
love a command center.
he's got a whole setup over here.
Mhm.
And it's all
Respect for the chairman.
it's all kitted out to where even the reflection of the windows gives you no information as to what's on these screens. Like everything is so privatized that like I even would be willing to bet that there's been times where you've been behind his desk and you like his screens look off to you. He probably has something in his eyes that like lets him see what's actually on the screens.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's like working pretty fast as you enter, and he says, please come in, take a seat, close the door behind you if you would not mind, and continues just like clacking away very quickly.
I like the culture. I like a culture of body mods in the higher echelons of the agency. So I'm sort of picturing like sort of General Grievous, like like arms out of his forearms so that he can type on multiple places. He's got like
Several
he's
things
he's
going
on
on, yeah.
yeah, he's on multiple keyboards or different things all at the same time, sort of directing the agency all at once.
Definitely, definitely. And even as you sit in this big, high-backed, overstuffed leather chair on the other side of his desk, he does turn his half of his attention to you. He swipes something on his desk, and some of the monitors slide to the side. One of his eyes is looking at you. The other is still jetting in between three of these screens, and as two of his arms are just working incredibly fast. And he says, let's see, hold on. Agent Cola, I'm glad that you were in the office today. You could come quick. There is a little bit of an emergency. Are you able to head off on mission rather urgently?
Always, sir.
That's fantastic. You are aware of his other arm reaches under the desk as the first one continues with its work. He pulls up a file and slides it across the desk to you. Manila folder. There is a picture on the front of it of an agent that you know enough. His name is Jeremy Pevins. What is your relationship like with Jeremy Pevins? Is he just a coworker? Have you gone on a mission with him?
I No, I've certainly not gone on a mission with him. Agent Cola works alone. Um, Pevins has been present at briefings. It's possible even that Cola has sort of been sort of in the back of the room while Pevins has given um like an intel briefing. Generally, Cola doesn't attend these, but occasionally he stands in just to sort of be aware of office culture. Generally, Cola gets his intel briefings from Heavens's boss. It's unusual that he's getting a briefing from the director.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pevins, as you know, is just an agent, the basic run of the mill. What's his name? What is your agent in training's name? The one that you got assigned? Are we gonna go with Scruffy?
We cannot go with Scruffy.
Scraggy?
Um,
Scruffman?
his name is Cluster.
Cluster. Cluster is an
Like
agent.
Cluster Jorgen is his name, but he's Agent Cluster. He's Agent first name. Don't know why. Don't know why we've gone with this, but he's Agent Cluster.
Yeah, Agent Cluster, exactly, and
Mhm.
Agent Pevins. They are of the same rank in this situation. You having the rank of Special Agent, putting yourself above them. You've been in this work for quite a few
Special
years.
Agent Cola.
There may have been a time at some point in which Pevins's direct special agent was out, and you may have taken like one of his mission briefings as he returned. Not too much interaction, but you know of the agent.
Oh,
Um,
certainly. I've done some like missions within missions kind of jobs where I have attended Pevin's briefing and then been given a file that had my additional details.
mhm.
But like all the base facts were covered by Pevins.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. As you open this manila folder and leaf through the front few pages, it's a mission dossier. The mission dossier sort of details that there have been possible sightings of an invasive species on a Delta exploration station out on the edge of our territories. And they seem kind of unbased. It looks, I mean, like, you guys respond to almost every single lead about an invasive species, knowing the danger of a truly like malicious invasive species from yourself. And yeah, so it's not a surprise that he went out even on this like very low based information. There's someone said that they overheard a conversation about putting eggs in food. And I actually I think that actually might be it, is that someone just overheard a conversation about someone putting eggs in food and they didn't know who the person was, and it seems kind of nerve-wracking. There is a note in here that says the captain of the station has dissuaded all fears. That almost means nothing to you guys. You're gonna go check it out if it makes sense to go check it out. And out here on
All it
the
means is that the captain is a lead.
fact, fact, out here on the edge of
At least
space.
I don't know that that's in the file, but that's what that means to Agent Cola,
Sure.
Special Agent Cola.
Special Agent Cola. These claims are often looked into even more out here on the edge because, like, someone putting eggs in food means almost nothing here on the main galactic orbiter. We might go check that out, but there's tons of food, tons of cultures like that. That conversation is probably overheard millions of times a day. Any curiosity out here on the edge of our territories, if it's with a race we don't know, could be a lot more frightening.
So Cola looks over the file briefly, and his first, I think, statement would be, uh, something happened to Agent Pevins, sir.
Mm, indeed. As of 6 hours ago, we received note that Pevins had. Hmm, something has happened to Pevins. He has begun showing severe aggression. He has been. There have been reports of several attacks. Oh no! There have been reports of several attacks, and the station, the particular Delta exploration station, is in quite a bit of an upheaval right now, and we must jump on this instantly. Uh,
Do we have any details on the attacks, sir?
all we know is that as of the report came in 6 hours ago, or no, as of 6 hours ago, the report came in about an hour ago. As of 6 hours ago, Pevins simply snapped and attacked some of the science officers in the same room as him before leaving and disappearing deeper into the station. He critically injured two of them, one of which is on life support at this very moment. Um,
Attacked how?
some all the eyewitnesses state that it was just with his hands, but he attacked with a ferocity and a uh, the word animalistic was thrown in there at some point. Um,
Mm,
it just sort of seemed to come out of nowhere. Everyone says that they had been holding conversation and interacting with Pevins up until this point, totally fine. He just sort of went off his rocker. He has disappeared as of the message I received, and I'm sure that you can understand that we must deal with this rather swiftly.
of course. Um, this, I see a note here, this tip about eggs in food. What is its
Mm.
provenance? Who did we receive it from?
Uh, this was sent in as a as an anonymous tip from the station. I mean, as you know, most folks do send in their tips anonymously as they don't want to, I guess, draw some of our focuses, huh? Chuckles as he continues to smash out on his keyboards.
We do, we do generally make folks regret drawing our attention, sir.
Uh, I would,
Not, not the public at large, just
yeah, I might,
those
you know,
responsible, sir.
yeah, we need to work on how to reframe that because it's definitely the invasive species. It's definitely not us taking care of the mess. Haha.
Certainly. Ha
uh,
ha.
this is this is a urgent matter. I would like you to grab cluster. Grab your agent in training, gear up, and head to the light pods. We're gonna be shipping you
we,
out instantly.
we can be in a pod in 1 hour, sir.
Perfect, perfect. As you know, you'll have to find your own way back, but this is the fastest way there.
Understood. I will report in when I have new details.
Boom. Huge. And you leave the director's office in order to prepare for this mission. Um, what does that look like for you?
All right. Prepare for the mission. Well, then I suppose the next step would be to brief um, Deputy Agent Cluster on this new development. So I'm going to head to the technical wing of our building to visit Cluster in his office. So I'll head back down the elevator to somewhere around the midpoint of the building where the wings start to happen. Head over to the technical wing, passing the various R&D departments, the places with the sprays and the detectors and the interrogation devices. and the various things back to the offices of um, of technical intel, which is sort of our sub speak for those with specific knowledge and general usefulness to the agency. I'm gonna come into to it's not really a lab. It's we're gonna let's go with a workspace. We're gonna go to Cluster's workspace. Um, it is strewn with bits and bobs of micro gadgetry. Um, Cluster is a I mean, if you know, for the cyberpunk enthusiasts out there, he's a sort of an off the record ripper doc in his own way. Um, his know-how is in the implant, as well as in sort of getting in with the crowd and in with the lay of the land. He's our intel on the ground. Well, specifically my intel on the ground. He doesn't work with anyone else but me. I brought him into this agency. I am I am his point of contact. I'm really his only point of familiarity. We used to eat ramen together and talk intel in the time before he was my agent. Um,
Hmm.
I never turned him in to the appropriate authorities because he seemed useful in his knowledge of both implants and the surrounding terrain for an earlier mission of mine. Due to unforeseen circumstances, he's been brought on as a deputy agent and given his own workspace to continue his implant research and development. Um, and so
He is clacking away on a beat up laptop as you enter. He's working on a piece of tech to the side. It is biomechanical arm sitting in a little table stand, and he's like tweaking some stuff in it, and he types some stuff in the keyboard. And as you approach, Cluster is a he's tall, he's thin and lanky. He's got um kind of long red curly hair that droops down atop his circular wide brimmed glasses. um by all accounts, he definitely looks like the stereotypical lab nerd, but you know that he has like just some really keen social skills, half of which you've developed and half of which he's just gotten used to, being your eyes and ears on the ground, talking to the folks in the areas that you go to get that information for you.
the social skills he had already, the direction that they have pointed in, the ability to pick out the details that are most salient for my purposes are things that I have sort of instructed him upon.
Sure.
Um,
Uh,
and I come in and I say, Jorgen, we have a mission. We leave in 45 minutes. Sublight pod. Prepare your tools.
Before you're even finished talking, he's already shut the computer and he's like throwing it into he has this big bulky messenger bag and he's throwing the computer in. He swipes some tools in there. He grabs some battery packs, like the loosest shit, the most unplanned stuff. And before you're even like walking out of the lab, he's like putting a few more things in and following behind you.
I This is what I love about Cluster. He may be disorganized, but his like pivot is so fast. I love, you know, he's just like, all right, here we go, let's do it. No argument, no discussion. Here's the mission, let's go. Um,
And he's
so
like
long
up.
as it doesn't mean he has to bleed.
Exactly. And he is up behind you. He's got a little handheld computer little flip thing. He's able to type on it. a mini handheld laptop basically as he's following you. And as you exit the lab and head towards supplies, as you still have to supply, he's asking. He's like, "So what's the sitch, boss?"
Um, we have an agent missing in action, potentially potentially turned. Signs of violence, conflict, conflict likely. We we've been tasked to investigate and potentially subdue. Um, your input and intel is essential to the success of this mission. I'm counting on you, Cluster.
And
And I only
he's
call him Cluster when I'm serious. Generally, I'd call him Jorgen because I've
as
always
you're
called him Jorgen.
I mean, you guys are still walking down the first hallway at this point. He swipes up on his little hand pad as you guys reach the elevator and you finish, and he says, "We talking Agent Jeremy Pevins? Here, I see that he was headed out to a Delta exploration station. Hmm.
Your intuition is spot on as always. We are searching for the whereabouts and the whatabouts of Agent Jeremy Pevins.
Hmm. You,
Last seen at the Delta Dawn station out in far space. Um,
yeah, you said aggression. It doesn't, nothing in his files say that he's ever shown any signs of aggression. I mean, we all know Pevins can be a bit of an asshole, but it's not like he's aggressive about it."
Certainly not. The only aggression I've ever seen from Pevins is his aggression to duty. In providing us with the
Aggressively capable of carrying out his duties.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, really commands the intel room. Doesn't brook any nonsense from the agency's briefing. I respected Pevins for that. Uh, but there's no respect here in his potential turning. We um we need to get to this station as quickly as possible so that we can ascertain both his whereabouts and his activities in the time prior to see what has happened to him.
The elevator doors open up. You find yourselves on the basement level. It opens up into a big supply warehouse, basically. There is a gated reception area at the front of this, and someone sitting on the other side of a little panel in that gate. And as you enter, they look up from some of their paperwork and they say, "Ah, Special Agent Cola, good to see you, friend."
Good to see you, Agent.
And this is Agent. Her name is. Her name is Agent Debbie, but everyone calls her Agent Debbie. Her like water cooler name, which she hates, is Agent Debbie Downer because she is under the. She's like underground. She's in the basement. So people call her Agent Downer, but she does not love that. Her real last name I was gonna say is Upper, but I hate that too. um. Her real last name is
No one has bothered to learn it.
Debbie Dobbits, and she's excited as always to see you. You always at least return the gear.
Good to see you, Agent Dobbits.
What
Cola's always very like by the book, tries to keep to the preferences, remembers everyone's pronouns, like he he's socially adaptable.
Yeah,
That's, it's part of his undercoverness is blending in and making friends and influencing people. Uh
and Debbie's
Cluster definitely
super
just calls it. Cluster definitely just calls her Downer.
Oh, absolutely. He calls her Agent Downer. I think he's used to that though. I think that's just like the culture. She's used to it too. She doesn't even really like respond to it, but she does respect and love that you call her Agent Dobbits. And as you say that, she smiles a bit and she says, you folks headed out on a mission? Is there a kit I can throw together for you?"
Um, okay, not in character. What does this mean?
So this is where we're going to supplies for the mission. When you prepare for a mission, you have access to gear that comes in the form of rare tech. So it
I,
is your level, but divided by 2 rounded up. You are level
I
6,
sort of
so that's
thought
3.
that this was something that I would come through cluster for, that I would in my imagination, I don't know how much I should say about the way that we had talked about this. Was
Uh
that
yeah, I
I
mean
would
hit me.
come to okay. In my imagination, I was coming to cluster to be kitted for the mission once I had spoken with Captain Rake, like on the station.
Okay, so the supplies for the mission is a way for you to gear up when you have like you have to do this before you leave, and then these will be your supplies until you do this again. My concept for this was that you would supply now, and then once you did your stuff on the station, you would be able, like whenever we leave on mission from there, you'll be able to supply from their storage. But once you're on the station, I mean, technically, you have access to the storage as you would if you were here in the city, but you're like on mission. I think this is the way that we keep. So, like BBW, his stuff is like spell casting, and while your stuff is spell casting, it's a different kind of spell casting, right? This is the difference of like wizards who can change their spell book, or whichever class can change their spell book on long rest versus the class that can only do it when they level up. Like it's the slight differences of that. So BBW can change it whenever he's on the, I guess he can do it on the station as well. Yeah, yours is in between missions. We can do it through cluster. We don't have to use Agent Debbie Dobbits. He can be the one to supply you from his storage. But the supplies that you
I think
choose now will be the supplies that you have until you complete this mission, whatever that ends up being.
this mission, this episode. Yes, before
This
I start working with the main team.
correct. Yes,
Got
before
it.
you start.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes,
Then
yes. You're going to take care of
I think we
Pevins right
should
now. This is your Pevins supplies. What you're using to investigate Pevins.
I think then we'll hold off. I think this will be a cluster thing.
Yeah,
I
we
think I
will
will
never
I'll
talk to Agent Debbie Dobbits again. Just so
yeah,
that you know.
I think then my we'll hold off on the supplies just for a little bit longer, because I think I will come to cluster to supply me once I have the details on the ground, whether I'm doing, what it is I'm doing.
I mean that's the thing about the supplies of the mission is that you only get the info that you have, not the info that you get when you're there. So like if we were leaving the Delta station, you couldn't get to Opulence and then supply for the mission. You would have to pull
Okay.
it. You know what I mean? So like,
Midpoint then, I think I'll supply during the trip. I think what I will ask Agent Dobbits for is I want the full kit. Um, so full supplies. This is a teal level mission. Um, which I would translate to all of the supplies relevant to my level. Um, that they go with me in the pod so that I can be equipped on the mission.
but that is you.
It's just so that I can make sense, so that I can for potentially change them for the subsequent missions
That I mean,
so that
that
I
you're
have
doing you still would have access to all of these items, you would just be supplying from the supply, like, station on the Delta, like, the inventory person
I
there.
wouldn't have any of those supplies on the Delta because there isn't an invasive species agency like depot on the Delta. Like I'm
None of these supplies says that you are a part of the invasive species committee. None is like the invasive species gun. Like, it's all
no, no, certainly, but they're like these are the implants per se that I'm socketing into my arms. I'm definitely going to supply up on the way there. Um, but for the notion, I don't.
okay, so
To me
then
there's no
to
notion of like how I would get like if I wanted to swap implants once I arrived at the Delta. There's no
that tech is
notion
there.
to me.
I mean, like,
Are,
you like, Cookie wouldn't have had access to this tech, but that doesn't mean that, like, Shaq, the resident stealth expert who has ranked up several times, can't just go and pick up a force shield whenever she wants it, because she has, like, way higher level access than you guys had on your team. Um, and also at that time, I hadn't created any of this yet as a GM, so, um
yeah, not like
but
well.
framing it
Mm.
as, okay, here's how we can frame this canonically, is that, okay, so yes, we'll say that all of the stuff he already scraped into his bag was the stuff that he would need to make any of this happen. He has to do the work on you, which requires downtime. So that would be so far when we have been on the station. For now, it will be he'll probably do this work on you before you guys leave. Because once you're on the ship and you land, like, you're working. He's not gonna have time to take you off to a room and uninstall and reinstall what you need. This would be a great time to get the things that you think you needed installed, and then he has it all with him. So in between things, he can just do that Ripper work on you, since he is your Ripper doctor.
I see. Okay. Then I think my what I say
But she can give you, like,
to
ammo, supplies, whatnot.
to Agent Jobbits is I want a full enhancement suite pod. Um this could be a longer term mission. Um jettisoning immediately. ASAP. And then I, turn to Scruffy and we sort of get into the specific enhancements that I need now. But basically the pod is like the cyberpunk surgery suite where they make the adaptation, they do the mods. It's the special space where these things can be installed on me.
Sure, sure,
Um
sure, sure. It's just like a little, almost like a hospital bed inside of a pod.
mhm.
It has all the necessary stuff he needs. She Yeah, she says that she can have that arranged. She checks out the file that has already been sent through. Hmm. You guys are just going on, like, a two-person pod. I don't know how that you have the room for another pod. Fuck it. She says, yeah, I can absolutely have that attached to your light pod before you folks leave for this extra long mission, of course. And I will, of course, have the necessary rations and ammunitions placed aboard for you. Um, yeah, I
I
appreciate.
imagine it's like a storage crate, like a shipping container shaped bullet that's fired at like just shy of the speed of light.
Yeah,
And so, at some point I'll be able to get back into that shipping crate and get back into my surgery chair to change those out should that be necessary. Um
yeah, yes, yeah. Yep, yep, yep. And yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I can do that. It's not going to be part of like the ship for like missions with the team. It is a thing that exists independently of that.
um,
Correct? So I can't change my additions on the ship. I have to be on the Delta Dawn station
correct. It will
to
be too big to
change my
put
stuff.
on your guys' cruise ship. Indeed, indeed.
Phenomenal.
That
Perfect.
makes
All right.
canonical sense for sure. So Cluster is rifling around in his bags. He's like, what are we looking for this one? Boss man.
Mm.
Yeah, so now is the time in which we have the supplies. So fifth level and below, 1, 3, or 5, and you get
And how many do I get?
3 total from any of those. You can take 3 level 5s if you want them. Um, Up to you.
And remind me, how do they function? Is it once? Oh no, it's like a spell casting. I roll the 2d6 and based on the roll I can use it again or it's busted. Yes?
Yeah, or diminished effect. Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Okay. Then the 3 that I will take are the lie detector,
Okay.
which I imagine is a like an ear implant, like an inner ear little bit.
Okay.
Um, the Instabind, which is a canister that goes into my wrist, is yeah, it's like
I had
it just fires
imagined for flavor, I had imagined the Instabind as one of those slap bracelets, that when you
yes,
take it off
yes,
and you slap, it
exactly.
expands and wraps because it needs to be bigger than that, but it expands
For
and
sure.
wraps. Uh,
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Nice.
And I think for an investigation, the best option is going to be the past peeper.
I also agree with that. I also agree
And the
with the
past
past
peeper,
peeper.
for those listening, just so that everyone can hear, it's a lens. So how we translate that into an implant,
Just an
I
ocular.
think is I don't want I want personized. So I think this is like a contact lens.
Okay, I like that.
Um
It
and I
There's a dial somewhere. I mean, we could say that dial is on your wrist. It doesn't really matter.
yeah, part of my wrist communicator.
Mhm.
And basically I can using the lens, I can look up to sort of analyzing the sort of atomic interactions of a space. I can look into the past and see the history of the space that I'm in.
Mhm.
I can look up to 24 hours into the past to ascertain what has happened in this place.
Yep, yep, yep. That's the past peeper. Lets you do up to 24 hours in the past. The
The
Instabind
coolest.
is just a binder. Like we said, a slap bracelet that, when connected with your target, creates a incredibly powerful restraint. And then the lie detector, which can just detect truth or lie on a single statement. He has chosen one from each level of spells, which I think fits. I mean, like it. That was my hope with
It's a
this.
good it covers a lot of this feels like as many bases I can possibly cover because I'm going into the unknown. If
Right.
I if I knew what it was that I was doing, I might have chosen more intel or more combat based implants, but because I do not know what it is that I'm getting myself into, I want to cover as many bases as I possibly can. And I
Yeah.
think this does that
I think that it does
with the
that.
intention of investigation.
And I think that Cluster says, absolutely, I can get these ready, and I can even get them implanted on the journey here. Um, yeah. Is there anything else you take care of in this hour, or is this the hour and we head to the ship?
No, I think the implants take the hour. I think that the Instabind is very easy to install because it's just a canister that goes into a socket in my wrist. But the lie detector and especially the past peeper requires some calibration.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, so there's, you know, a like a montage of cluster like poking at his dials and then telling me, a selection of truths and lies to sort of calibrate whether or not it's working. And like syncing up the past peeper to my risk communicator and then verifying with Agent Dobbits that what it was that she was doing 18 hours ago so that I can make sure that all of these things are functioning the way they're supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah. You rewind at 18 hours and actually you see Dobbits coming in for her shift. You see it. I mean, you see it from the point of view that you're standing. This past 24 hours. So as you look around in this space, you can see Dobbits get off the elevator and come over to this chain link gate next to you and unlock it and get behind her desk and begin rifling through some paperwork. And as you relay all this to Dobbits. She confirms that that is exactly what she was doing 18 hours ago, and she shivers and she says, "Man, these things always make me a little jittery. It's just so weird. You guys can see into the past like that."
It's unusual for sure. However, less unusual than the species that we fight against.
Oh, absolutely. We got to do anything we can to protect the people of this fine civilization.
Every method is justified. Yes, indeed.
Oh, oh, I totally agree with you. Oh no.
I I'm committing to a, a character.
No, I like it.
For the listeners at home, I've picked we sort of when we were building this character, we were thinking about like what would a paladin look like in this universe. And so we were thinking about like very committed, steadfast to the cause kind of a character.
Mhm.
Um and so in this specific instance, this paladin is perhaps not as uh palatable. Um though not I don't know less palatable than my last character.
They're
Uh,
just they're different flavors. I think it's hard to palate this cuz in the world in which we're like playing is not one that we love to like play around in because it has like heavy real world implications. Um
I don't mind. I enjoyed. Cookie felt like someone you could root for because she was just trying to do her own thing, and occasionally that meant doing something that was less than noble. And I'm here to be rooted against. Um, do it, root against me.
I don't think that there's anything
I'm
to
here
root
to I'm here
against.
to complete my mission.
That
Um,
I don't think that there's anything to be rooted against at the moment. I think that
I remember the sacrifices of Mars Prime. Um,
I
and so
you
it's
I mean even just from the frame of what we've learned of your nightmare, which isn't, I mean, not entirely much, but we can get a
excellent
decision
narrative device, by the way. That was
that
really cool.
I appreciate that. We can get an idea that this has affected you in some way, which is why you're here. And yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Also, I don't know if I actually got the words out before, but I love that your name is Hyatt Cola because we spoke about how a lot of the naming conventions of this main capital city are very like the capitalist businesses that have
I
familied out, and you chose two
the
that are just like absolutely 100%.
the notion of brand names becoming like nobility family names to me that seemed like such an interesting space concept.
Yeah.
Um, I wanted to lean into it. I didn't really think about, like, that cola was also part of that. I I part of me was like, Pepsi, but the McElroys have already done something with Pepsi.
Hyatt Pepsi. No, I like Hyatt colas. It's just it's very solid. It's very solid.
I've not yet decided if I wanna go with Hyatt Cola as, like, whether or not I need a cover name for, like, introductions with the rest of the team, or whether I just wanna go with Hyatt Cola. Um,
It's
like, be
fair.
it's an interesting question. I do actually now the more I think about it, I think I like Hyatt Cola because I don't wanna be, like, fully narratively, opaque, like, with like, no way for them to figure out who I am
Like
or what's up.
Hyatt cola. Also, like your name that makes sense
Because
for
if
your
someone wanted to
character.
spout lore on my name, they could find out the history of Mars Prime, or they could find out on a lesser role, perhaps, the naming convention of like,
Uh huh.
there are clues there,
There
I think,
there
that would
are
make this interesting.
the I think that the average person, you're fine using your name on many missions because the average person that you come across on planet A, B, or C couldn't possibly know you. Like, there's no way they're going to tie your name. Characters have, of course, a rolling convention to learn, so that leaves this open. I like that. I like that, and I like leaving paths open for them to attempt to learn something. Yeah, so that takes the hour, and as you approach your light pod atop the building, it is kitted out. There's a crate strapped on. Oh wait, no, we're talking like big storage container size thing. So it's just it fills up like the back third of your storage container. The rest is all flight, stock, ammo, things like that. The crew comes together, they strap you guys in, and there I mean there's a brief moment before you guys are launched aggressively into space. You have traveled maybe once or twice by these light pods. These are used for emergency, like, exoduses from the ISC to take care of the most important, the most quick, the fastest. There isn't a commercial spaceship or even just like a ship as like being a spaceship goes that can move as fast as these light pods. They are a one-way ticket and they're the fastest things because they're built down to just speed and like you don't turn, you don't move, you don't do anything, you program it and you're
Yeah.
there.
I
um
imagine that the the luxury, like, what was his name? The dude we got blood. Like the escape pods on Bloodship would be sublight pods. Like, if if you've got money, then your method of escape is a sublight pod. It's not a pleasant method of transit, but it will get you out of there fast and
fast
immediately.
and
Yes.
faster than anything else could. And like we've talked about, these are a one destination thing. They go where they're going and they get there. You actually had to set your destination to the planet of oh fuck, I don't remember the name of that planet because it's up on my wall next to my like. Oh no, I've taken it down from the wall. It's in the office. The planet next to the Delta. The Delta is stationed outside of this planet, and I will find the name and maybe put it in there at another point. But there's a giant dead metallic planet that the Delta is stationed outside of the Delta exploration station that you are going to, and you put your coordinates in for that planet because you cannot, like, this pod is not going to land on the station. It's going to smash into the ground. You guys safe, the pod safe, and then as you know, you will radio the Delta, and they will have to pick up your pod and bring you up. And they are in your dossier. They are totally ready for this as well. And we can even say there's like as your ship gets close, it sends out that signal as it passes the delta that hey, we're here and we're ready to be picked up. Because as the director said, that was 6 hours ago that this had happened. Um, it took you another hour. That's 7. This took you 6 hours to get out here. Straight up just of speed. You guys flying out here on the basic ship with the whole crew in episode 1. I might have given it a different time, but took probably several weeks of flight. This took several hours as you plow into the planet. It isn't very long before you know the ship will arrive. Is there anything you want to set with Cluster before the Delta picks you up?
I think I imagine that we're going to establish clusters like cover. I think that the pod will be sort of dropped into the back half of perhaps a storefront or a some sort of a business that becomes, you know, or a location that becomes clusters cover, clusters method of integrating himself into society. And so that the front of this is, you know, a tech spot or it's a something that cluster will fit into, and the back half of it is the container where I can get myself modded out. um which I like because then there's potential for meeting cluster if they are looking for specific things. um I so we sort of establish cluster's role in the yeah, we're just going to go with it. We're in the market district. He's a vendor of um I think in this instance I like sort of like acoustic, like he's like a record dealer, like a I like the idea that vinyl still exists. Vinyl's forever.
It's the true way to listen
Uh
to music, and it always has been.
exact exactly. So he's going to be running a vinyl shop, selling turntables and records, with the container in the back. So we sort of established that, um, and I think that's about all that's needed
Hmm.
for his cover. I trust him. He's been my loyal and capable ally through multiple missions, and so he knows what to do. We just sort of have to establish what it is that his cover is in this instance.
Hmm.
So the retrieval shuttle has instructions to deposit us um
Uh,
in
they
like
they uh they definitely have their instructions to not open the crate. They're just gonna come down and pick it up. And when you folks land, they will help Cluster while you're going to do your first talks, get the container situated wherever he would like. They have orders as they land. They like let you know that, I mean, they have orders to not be asking questions, to not like peek or pry. There's only they say that
classified.
Marjorie Captain Marjorie is awaiting for your arrival, as you folks pick up off the planet and head towards the atmosphere. As you approach the delta, exploration station, nothing is really, I mean, nothing is out of place. It seems normal. There isn't any traffic going to or fro at the moment, but it's all lit up. It is, I mean, yeah, I mean, as you fly up, you wouldn't really know that there is anything wrong at all. Which
Do
would be a
do
good
I
thing to do.
have the like did my intel about the station tell me enough to be surprised that it's all lit up?
No.
Okay,
This is nothing to you. I think that this is something more for Gabe, for me saying this to Gabe as Cookie in our experience here as players, the station has never been like this. As you folks
certainly not.
have left and come to and fro missions, the bottom of the station underneath this landing bay has always been dark. It's just dark down there. And you guys know that the power has been out. But as you exit the atmosphere and begin approaching the delta, that is not the case. Everything is up and running. Nothing again in Cola's intel to make that out of place, but it is out of place at least for us as players. Um, yeah, so you guys fly up to the landing bay, and things are pretty active here in the landing bay. There's lots of crews seemingly waiting for you guys to land and help get this storage crate through and into the markets quickly and as yeah, I mean, just as quickly as possible, right? We want the least amount of people questioning it before it's in place. And as you land, Captain Marjorie is waiting, and she stands with her hands behind her back as you folks get off of the ship. You know who Captain Marjorie is. She's definitely in your intel file. Captain Marjorie is in there. Captain Rake is in there, and I think that those are the main two. I mean, those are the captains of the ship.
What does my intel say about Captain Marjorie? Do you want me
Um,
to roll spout lore?
yes, I would like you to roll spout lore. Start actually picking up
That's
stuff for your character.
yeah, let's do this. That's intelligence, so I didn't bring any dice with me, so let's have a quick look. Dice. Boop. That's a complete failure. So let's mark our very first experience. That's a 6.
You know that she's the captain. It's weird though, because your intel says Captain Marjorie and Captain Rake on there, and this ship does not have two captains. So I think coming in, you're not even 100% sure which one is the captain of this ship.
But
Um,
she is waiting for me when I arrive.
She is waiting for you as you arrive and step off the ship. You even see her like point to some of her crews, and they move around and begin like breaking down what they need to begin moving it into the station. And she greets you as you step off. She says, "What does she want to say?" She says, I appreciate you making the time to come out so quickly. This may not be the place for such, for opening conversations. Would you like to accompany me to my office?
Well, before I answer that question, it's time to use my class move. Um,
Yes, your class move. Why don't you read this for
my
us?
yes, certainly. I was just sort of I also took a bonus move that buffs this move, so I had to sort of
Right.
um had to quick check that out.
Hmm.
Okay, so my one of my class moves um okay, here's a quick question because if the answer is yes, I don't actually take experience. I also have a class move called clearance, which means when I spout lore using my clearance to with access to a database, I get a permanent +1. which would make my roll a 7. Would that
Mm.
apply to my inquiry about what I know
Yeah,
of Captain Marjorie?
I think
Okay.
that it would because this is we're talking like information you would have used what's his name to try to gather while you guys are on your way here, right? This is not like while you're
Okay.
standing here trying to think of what you know of her. I imagine.
Okay. Then on a 7 to 9, the GM will only tell you something interesting. It's on you to make it useful, and I will detract that first experience.
Okay. The spout lore on Marjorie. Hmm. I think okay, I think with that it's I think that you at least get the information that while there is Captain Marjorie and Captain Rake on this station, you know that Captain Marjorie is actually in charge of the station.
Okay. Well, that makes Captain Rake even more interesting. I'm looking forward to my interaction with him. Um, okay. Okay. Well, now it's time to use my other class move, and that other
Yes.
class move is called Inquisitive Eyes. And so I'll read it. When I meet someone for the first time, so I'm going to use this ability a lot this
I
session
think
and
so.
next session. Yeah, I'm going to use this is going to be used all the time. You can ask their player, which would mean you for an NPC,
Mhm.
a question from the list below. I'm not going to read all the questions because I think that it's more interesting
Sure.
to read them as they come up. They must answer it truthfully. Then they may ask you a question from the list. If you lie, you cannot use this move on them ever again. If you tell the truth, you can.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep. Yep, yep, yep. So what question do you have looking at Captain Marjorie?
and these are all such good questions.
Mhm. They're also
Having
like
to pick
narratively impactful.
Yeah, I mean, and that's such a great thing about the 2d6 system is that it is at its best when every option is narratively impactful.
Mhm.
Um, man, Captain Marjorie, huh? Both of the captains have been like enigmas to me as a player.
Mhm.
Um, Interesting. I think because Captain Marjorie is not a lead on this, the question I'm going to go with is what are your present intentions?
Um Her present intentions are to get you out of this room, out of the landing bay quickly. That like I think that you may have been in these situations before where you come in not in this exact situation, but where you land and your contact is not someone that you're trying to speak to in this public sense, right? But there
But
was no
but someone in
sense
charge, yeah.
right, but there was no sense of like she wasn't when she landed or when you landed and she started speaking, it was right to work. It was she wasn't trying to like be like, "Oh, welcome to our station. You're a traveler from far away," right? There was no like there seemed to be no preamble. You landed and she wanted you to move with her quickly and out of this room. And I will say with that, you know, it's kind of focused on this room, that intention. She wants you out of this room.
Okay. She doesn't want me to be acting the agent in front of everybody. Is
Uh,
sort of my interpretation of that. She wants me to be she wants
physically,
me out of
physically, she wants you out of this room.
hmm. Can I discern some realities about this room?
After I ask,
Please, yes.
what secret
Ask me my
pain
truthful.
do you carry with you?
What secret pain do I
And
carry
and
with
much as I attempt my best to give, especially because inquisitive eyes feels like something that you notice. It's like the way that you're perceiving how they're acting, right? And that's why I narratively try to give it in an observation. You are, free to give me that same kind of answer. Observationally, what secret pain do you carry with you?
Mm.
And if that can't be observational, sometimes it just comes down to like, here's that thing. I've done that before, but while you think, let me run to the bathroom real quick.
Well, while he's gone, here's a secret. It's not my secret pain, but Agent Agent Cola is deeply afraid of cats. I don't know if it'll come up, but now I've said it, so it's true. Agent Cola has a huge feline phobia. Um, this is a deep secret the agency doesn't know.
All right. What secret pain do you carry with you?
Um, we may have to sort of figure out narratively whether or not this is discernible, but the secret pain that Agent Cola carries with him is that they never found the planet of origin for the invasive species that afflicted Mars Prime.
I love that. I love that more than you could imagine. I'm in love with that.
Hmm.
Um, okay, how to narratively I mean, I think how okay, let's say how does that result in like your actions? Are you is it I got to quickly deal with these missions because I know the damage they can cause? Is it
I mean, I think a lot
yeah.
of that sort of comes down to my own sense of like you can that can be interpreted to the consequences. I think what it means is that if any evidence that sort of follows that through line comes up, I will abandon all other I will drop everything to follow this line of inquisition. Um, it does not matter what the agency has tasked me with. I have my own crusade that I will go on should I get a lead on this.
Okay, I
Um,
think maybe then how that presents now is that you're just like as you land, your eyes are darting around the room. You're pulling in information. You're trying to like it becomes obvious the moment you step off that you are working. Uh and so
yes, I am constantly absorbing information. That is, if I'm not sort of in disguise, if I haven't put on my person suit to fit whatever role I have played, and I think the role on the ship I'm gonna go for is pilot. Um,
yeah.
I think that's gonna be the direction I take. Uh, But if that's not the case, I am always just sort of very obviously like checking out the entire situation.
Yeah. So with that exchanged, she has basically just finished the sentence of "Let's go speak in my office," and she
All
turns
right,
around to
then
begin walking. Yeah.
we're discerning realities.
Are we discerning
Um
realities about her or about this room? If you do it,
about the room
okay.
because she said she does not want me in this room, and so that sort of like even if that doesn't sort of help, like the result doesn't help because she doesn't want me in this room. I want to know what it is about this room she doesn't want me in.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
okay. Discern realities, I would say on this one, you'd have a +1 because you're acting on information that you've gained using your other moves.
that's excellent because I don't have any pluses to my wisdom.
Awesome.
That is a 7.
Okay. You are discerning realities. What question would you like to ask?
What here is not what it appears to be?
Yeah. There are this seems like any normal shipping bay. It seems cleared out, save the folks that are here specifically to help do this situation quickly, right? It doesn't seem like there are other people working on their ships. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of other work going on. It seems like this has been cleared out to make this efficient. They're up against one of the walls, not the wall that Marjorie is heading towards. There's a door on the wall that she is heading towards, out and into the station. There is another wall off to the side. There's a stack of boxes, and they look recently placed in this area. Behind the boxes, there is a banner that you see says Welco, and then the rest is cut off. You can easily tell that that says welcome. Um, and it's strung up. It's behind these boxes, and you swear that you see the edge of a door frame behind that banner. But it looks like, it's so blocked up right now with these boxes. The banner is blocking any other sight through the boxes. It's just like, but you think that there's a door back there. But all of her attention is pointing you out of the room towards this other door she is walking towards.
I follow her out the door as if I haven't seen anything.
Of course, of course. She leads you through the station. The halls are pretty empty. And she's moving rather quick as she takes you towards the central elevator and up into the command center. Her office, being in the back of the command center. She actually has like a glass walled office in the command center to give herself some privacy. And as you step in behind her, she presses a button that turns the walls opaque. That's where they get like fogged glass, right? No, less opaque. Unopaque. What's the word I'm looking for? Frosted.
And
I don't know.
frosted. Okay.
It frosts over the glass so you can't like see through anymore. And you folks find yourselves, the two of you are in an office, less comfortable than the director's office. But there is a chair for you to sit in, and she takes her place behind her desk. And she says, I do appreciate you folks getting out here very fast, much faster than I had possibly expected.
I push the chair in without sitting. Um, Captain Marjorie,
Hmm.
I hope that you appreciate the gravity of my presence on this station.
I'm sure I do. I'm sure that I do.
What can you tell me about Agent Pevens?
I mean, there's not a lot to tell. I, of course, was briefed of uh, his arrival on the station before he had come with the most recent set of recruits. Um, Nothing has been particularly out of the ordinary. He's been in and out of labs. He's been seemingly poking around as I assumed that he would. I myself do not know, these rumors that he was investigating, but I do know that he was investigating something for your organization. And all of a sudden, as of she checks the clock on the wall, and she says, what, like 13 hours ago, he snapped. He was down in the um oh god, it's so hard without my maps next to me. He was down in the tech bay, the technical research tech bay, the big open hangar where Core does most of of his work from me to the player Gabe. The scientists, they were all showing him the recent studies that we've been working on with the local flora and fauna that have been brought back on recent excursions, and something happened, and Pevins just attacked some of the scientists, absolutely um critically injuring two of them, slightly injuring a third. Those three are in in medical at the moment. And then he stormed off out of the door and disappeared into the station. We've gone on a brief lockdown. Most folks are non essential personnel for the moment are locked in their rooms because we truly don't know where he went.
Mm. Your cavalier attitude towards the goings on in your station is noted. However, I appreciate your briefing. What can you tell me about Officer Ray?
Teddy? What about him? He's in charge of putting together missions for lots of the recruits and teams. He's an invaluable asset on this station. I'm not my right hand man. I'm not really sure what you're asking for here.
Remind me, the player, what it was that made Rake a lead. He vouched for something.
Hmm. What made Rake a lead?
He was in the Pevins briefing.
I I remember Marjorie being in there saying that
Marjorie was not in the Pevins briefing at all.
um Captain.
Not Captain Ray.
I mean, maybe he was vouching that Pevins had been acting normal up until this moment. Maybe he was. I feel like it was in relation. So you guys got the note that someone was talking about putting eggs in somewhere, and I think that it was in relation to that. But I think it was vouching that maybe that wasn't the case, or that all was well, or that. Hmm.
Okay.
That one's
All
hard for
right.
me
Well then,
to
in
remember
in in that
specifically.
one, okay. We may have to clarify when we go over the recording. But in that instance, I think I'll leave that question there and then ask. Hmm, we received intel um, that there was discussion of eggs being slipped into food. What do you know of this?
Oh, I the initial report that got Pevin sent out. I tried to dissuade some of his fears on this. We had a recent cook aboard the station, and she made me a special dish from her home planet. It included some rather delicious eggs. She called a delicacy from her home planet. Just a delightful popping sensation as you ate them. It was absolutely stellar. One of the best things. One of my officers may have overheard this conversation, but nothing out of place. It was a delicious meal.
Um,
You, as a
this,
player, know that's not true.
yeah, no, I'm super torn. I'm super torn because this is a pivotal question narratively. to me, the player who knows exactly how everything went down.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there would be because I don't wanna trigger my lie detector without some sort of clue that
New
she
clue.
might. Yeah. Yeah. Uh,
But Hyatt does not know
no.
anything beyond what
No.
she has said.
No, he doesn't. Okay. The lie detector, I'm just gonna save the lie detector because I'm Hyatt is most interested in rape
Yeah,
at
right
this
now
moment
you're doing cursory
as a
questions.
lead. So I'm gonna leave the lie detector, I think, for rape. Um
Yeah, I mean it's only a
uh
one-time use if you fail.
yes, true, that's true, but because he knows that. So he
Truth.
doesn't know there's yet to be any evidence of deception
Truth.
thus
I
far.
will also
Um,
clarify or maybe reset that back and say that it's not necessarily the machine won't necessarily die if you fail. You might be able to use
no,
it
it
again
just
if you fail.
requires
They're
repairs.
just yeah, yeah, or it could draw unwanted attention. I feel like is always another good way to go about it. It could
Okay.
like lie detector
It's
in your ear. It could high frequency for a moment. So now someone knows that you've done something to try to it could be along those lines. I might have wrote specifically that it dies.
there is actually no um
Yes, no 6 minus, perfect. I wanted to leave it like that because usually at the 6 minus, it's like a hard move, which sometimes does result in the machine failing, but also could result in just, unwanted attention
yeah,
or whatnot.
7 to 9, no notion of unwanted attention, but there are other I get to choose one of these
Mhm.
four options for something.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
but
Okay.
yeah, 6 minus,
Um,
there's all sorts of options open.
yeah, for the audience, this is my first time playing this character sheet, so I am learning this character alongside everybody.
Mhm, mhm.
Um,
And we built this character specifically for
yeah,
coming into our
but
campaign where we're
it's
at.
been a week of working
Oh,
since
sure.
then, and
Yeah.
I haven't looked at it since we built it, so I'm still
Oh, no
sort of
doubt.
figuring it
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah. And this is the first time it's the first time it's been play tested even. So some of it, is having to be clarified as we're going because mentally it
Yeah.
could be all over the place.
So far, we haven't had to write anything though, so very solid. Um, this this cook,
Oh,
say more on them.
more on the cook. Cookie Grubbins, new recruit. Swiftly, her and her team made their way up from recruits to specialists. They're actually taking on a rather important client. I'm sure that you may have heard of him, Zerulean Blood. At the moment, they're working on. She flips through some files on her computer. She says oh wow, the planet of opulence is where they find themselves at the moment, working for Mr. Blood.
Of Blood Enterprises.
Yeah, yes, of course, no, no, all over the galaxy. He decided to use our little exploration station for the base of his needs this time, and Cookie and her crew are out taking care of just those needs.
Just for shits and gigs, I think I'm gonna spout lore on Blood Enterprises just to see if there's any chance of expanding the world there. Because I Gabe the player is curious. We never established where Blood's money came from, and so I'm curious what it is that he's got his hands in. Unfortunately, that's a 6. So, now I get to take experience.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, about. I think in this moment it makes you feel a little not nervous, but you're like, "Oh shit, I cannot believe this is something that I do. There's no reason that I should not know what Mr. Blood is up to." And the fact I think in this moment that you can't remember or you don't know, like you know that he's wealthy, you know that he has his hands in a million pots. But the fact that you can't draw that piece of information right now that like this is an easy piece. You should know this. What Mr. Blood has his money from. But that it's like it's working you up a little bit because this you should not stumble on this piece of information.
A dude on the street would know this, but
Yes.
for whatever reason, I don't.
You took it as such like basic knowledge that you just didn't look into it any more than that, and that is
Mhm.
annoying in this
Everyone knows.
particular moment.
Everyone knows Blood Enterprises. They do something.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
as a meme, I was even gonna say that as your last name is Cola and your family went back, his last name is Blood, and they were the patron saints of blood drives.
I do enjoy. I can't say that this is canon because I straight don't know, but I do enjoy the notion that blood is in like
Oh
the
no, I lost you as you said Interstellar.
medical industry.
Yep, 100%, 100%, was where my brain
Yeah.
was going when we were doing that. But you got a 6, so your character at least doesn't know.
Yep, straight doesn't. He's gonna have to ask Cluster about it. All right. Lines of investigation. To help clarify my research, were there any ties between this cook Grubbin and Agent Pevins?
Uh, I mean, not that we're aware of. Pevins
And
seemed
uh,
to be
Cola
interested.
Cola jots down Grubbin's name in his little notebook.
Pevins seemed Pevins was asking quite a lot of his questions about Cookie and her crew. Most certainly, but nothing seemed to come of that. He seemed okay with them, like less inquisitive, less questions, like he had gotten his answer by the time they had left for Opulence. Basically, since then, he hasn't really asked another question about her since they left. His investigation seems to be elsewhere into our tech bay and our
Do you know
flora
who his
expert.
primary contact in the tech bay was?
Well, it was Doctor Porpoise, who is in critical in critical state at the moment in the medical ward. One of the few that he injured on his rampage out of the tech bay.
Uh, who was Porpoise's second in command? Assistant, primary assistant, perhaps.
Uh, Primary assistant. She was off for the day. Her name is Hazel. Hazel Goodfella, and Hazel. Um,
Cola drops this down too.
yeah, I mean, she was off for the day. She wasn't. She is uninjured. She wasn't in the tech bay at the time of the attack, but she is his assistant. Works quite often with Doctor Porpoise.
And do you know the manner of Dr. Porpoise's injuries?
The she flips around her computer monitor and presses a button, and a video appears on the screen, and she clicks play, and it is a security camera footage of the tech bay. You see Pevins working with Porpoise and another couple assistants around a table. Core is floating in between their table and a couple other workbenches as Core the system continues so much more work. Uh and they're going over a few pieces of tech on the table. It doesn't really, I don't know. There's not a lot here for you to gain as a ISC agent. Like, what is he investigating in this moment? Truly is, I think, your question. And then all of a sudden, he throws the piece
What
of.
he's investigating, just so that we understand his motivations. His notion of Pevins is a fairly bookish intel dude, And so the the association of heavens and rampage in the same sentence is sort of a flag for him.
Mhm.
And so he wants to sort of understand how that came to be, what that means.
Mhm.
And so what the details are in that sense are salient for him. So that's
Yeah.
sort of what he's on the lookout for, is what is this rampage that this
Yeah.
nerd was capable of.
So then it probably doesn't take you too far back that he is doing this sort of research over these pieces of tech and checking them out rather closely. And all of a sudden, in this video feed, Pevins throws the piece of tech backwards and up over his head, and he brings his fist down and into the doctor next to him. He throws his head back and he clutches the sides of his head and shakes and screams. There's no audio in this specific clip, but his body like convulses, and uh the skin on his arms begins splitting down the middle, and you see these little bony spines sticking up in the gap. He bends over the doctor, who is just knocked to the floor, and begins just raining down these violent punches. The doctor is unable to defend, and as other people are coming in, the swings coming back knock them, some of them clean out. Some of them, the second one, he comes over and his attention is totally turned to this new person. He grabs him by the scruff and begins beating them back and onto a table. In between all of this, he grips his head and he's screaming again, shaking violently. Uh,
Cola taps the screen, um, and like scrolls back to the beating of this second um person. And who is this?
uh, just another lab assistant.
Their name?
We call them uh Beaker
Oh yeah, we're on
Boyd.
an
I
we're on an
gotta do.
investigation. Yeah,
I'm gonna
we're
have to go
looking for
back through this episode and
details.
type all these names up. Beaker Boyd is his
Yeah,
name. He's the other one in critical condition along with Dr. Porpoise.
convenient. Uh,
Well, he got punched into the other person that got beat up. Yeah.
he sure did. He sure got the shit walloped out of him. I can see that. Um, all right. Beaker Boy and Dr. Porpoise.
Beaker Boyd.
Boyd. Okay.
An actual name,
I
not not the Beaker Boy. Our resident
I
Beaker
was
Boy.
I was a camp counselor with a dude named Boyd. He was pretty cool. Anywho, um, hmm, what other questions would I ask on an investigation? It doesn't seem like she has a ton of info, and she's not really the most interesting. She's not the lead here. She's not the one that I want to press for information just yet. I want I think I don't want to press her for information until I can prove that she has in some way deceived me. So I think then, do you know if Officer Rake is in his office, or where I can locate him?
Um, she says he usually spends it's about his lunch. He usually is taking lunch in the markets. I can call him up here if you would like.
Do not.
All, all right.
Do not inform him that I have arrived or that I am on my way to meet with him. He is a person of interest in my investigation, and should he be forewarned, my agency will there will be consequences through my agency.
And I
I feel
totally
like there's
understand that
something.
as my there I think there is.
Okay.
I think that's your
No, I've accidentally invoked my alignment.
I mean,
Um,
that's valid. That is a point of experience if we remembered at the end of the session. Um,
yeah, I didn't. That was not on purpose. Uh,
I mean,
but
that's even better if we can
yeah,
if it's just part of your character. She says, and
there's
I
only. I think this is the only people that I can really do this with are Rake and Marjorie. They're the only people with the clearance to know who I am. Um,
anyone that I think exists in this known universe area, as long as they've heard of your organization.
well, without me specifically saying I am
Okay,
with the
yes. Okay, yeah.
Invasive Species Bureau, um, where I can still use this move in subtext or
Yes. Okay.
without explicitly saying so.
Right.
I cannot do this to Carl. Um,
Sure.
yeah, and
She says, and I totally understand that. And I definitely will not let him know that you're looking to talk to him. But as my second in command, he is the only other person on the station that does know that you are coming out. And due to the nature of things, I'd imagine that he's smart enough to know that it's soon. I will not tell him you are here, but he knows you are coming, and he knows that you guys come quick.
your cooperation is appreciated and will be remembered. And Rake leaves the office. Um,
Let me know if there's anything I can help you with.
he gives no response, no indication that he's heard that.
Great.
Though he did. Um, I think we're on mission now. So I think the next stop uh, is Rake's office. We're gonna head into Rake's office. No knock. Um,
Yeah, he doesn't actually. So he doesn't have a walled office like Marjorie does. Hers is the only walled office up here. His is the. He has a station at the big like war table that has all their maps and missions up on it. He has the largest table in this area, and he does all his work here. A part of it, I guess it. I guess it is just like a big desk because you guys have talked to him at his desk before. But it's just like loosely stationed out here in this command center.
all right, he's gonna sit down. Is Rake here,
No,
or is he at lunch?
he's out at lunch in the markets.
All right, cool. We're gonna sit down at his desk, and we're gonna go through his shit. Um, I would imagine that Cola has like an override code in case there's some sort of access, some sort of if he's like logged out of his account while he's at lunch. Um, I don't know what would be the role that you would want as far as like going through Rake's files and desk and everything. Would you want a spout lore or a discern realities or like a a defy danger intelligence or what what
Hmm.
what would be the best way for Cola to go through Rake's stuff while he's not around? I don't know if it's defy danger because like I'm fully authorized to be here. Um
Well, okay, but I mean, the danger, like you still are facing a social
it's
danger, whether you care or not about that. You still are facing a
I
social
suppose
danger.
that's true. It's
Um,
rude, but it's not like he can do anything about it.
yeah, I was like digging through. I think if your agent in training had the technical know-how, I would say that would be him. Like he would just do this for you. I was just making sure that there was nothing in here that could.
Cluster isn't a hacker.
No, no. Okay, you can do it. What it feels like to me. I mean, defy danger would make sense as the catch-all if the others don't make sense. Discern realities because you're feel like those questions could come in handy. Clearance also feels like it could. be the thing. It's basically, spout lore, you have access to his database. I'll agree it's locked out, but that could be you trying to log in, right? Like you making that role.
Okay.
You trying to like
Um.
bypass the password wall.
Hmm. Okay. I like clearance because that's at least a bonus to spout lore.
Yes.
I think I'll go with that. So that is a spout lore +2.
Mhm.
That is a 10.
On a 10 plus, you gain information that may be classified. Um, hmm.
And as far as spout lore goes, on a 10 plus, I will get something useful and interesting about the subject of your situation. Classified, useful, and interesting are the adjectives that you have been handed.
You're digging through. All right, there's a few pieces here. The first piece that comes to ease of finding, there's a file talking about ongoing projects on the ship, and it talks a lot about how resident doctor old lady Weathers has been working with Cookie Grubbins to cultivate flora, not a fauna, a flora that can provide power to the station. Lots of these
I
data
jot down
points talk
I jot
about.
down Weathers. I really should be actually writing down these names because I already don't remember the names that I said that I was writing down.
Yeah,
I
I'll do my best to remember them also. Beaker Boyd, Dr. Porpoise,
Beaker
and Old Lady
Doctor.
Weathers.
Okay, where can I write some stuff down?
I mean, you can even write it on your sheet for now. Just like scroll down to
Yeah,
the
I'm just
bottom.
trying to like to see.
Um, yes. So Cookie and Old Lady Weathers have been working on this fauna. Or this flora to provide power to the station. It goes over lots of their like experience logs. How first they were melting and they needed to use some rust moss to soak up some of that heat. Um, and that the most recent tests seem to be going well. And it says at the end of this file that the whole station has had power resupplied. Not much more information as to what that really means. But then you find another file deep hidden in there, the classified file. This one talks about how there was a explosion in the old science bay, their science bay that is now connected to their tech bay in a big warehouse convention style room, used to be below the ship bay. And there was a massive bio explosion in that lab. They had brought a a life form aboard the station. They were studying it, and whatever chemical that they had attempted to use in this experiment had reacted explosively. Many deaths for several years, 5-10 years, shut down 40% of the power in the station. And
Quick question: Was there ever? Is this something that was reported back to us, to the agency?
no,
Is this? Mm,
this is something,
okay,
this is
this sets
huge.
off
This is
some.
a massive piece of information for you because something like this happening, like already that is invasive species come in to check out this life form. It's caused damage to it, massive damage. They kept it for years. The amount of lives that could have been lost in during this, like this not only is a big hit for the invasive species committee, but also just for like the military in general. They should have been all over this, saving extra lives, fixing the station, and whatnot, but they haven't been. And it's been kept a secret only by the higher ups in this station. Not many people on the station know about this.
this down too. This is big shit right here. Uh, um, Station life force in investigation explosion. All right. Hmm. Yeah, this sets off all sorts of alarm bells for Agent Cola. Hmm. Thank you. Thank you, microwave. One moment. Um, all right. That's quite something. Um, wow. I'm trying to process how Cola would react to this. Um, it's interesting because his preference would be to confront Rake about this in a private setting. Um, hmm. Does his investigation reveal Rake's um the location of Rake's residence?
I think that you're able to glean that information from this computer. Um, yeah. You have access to the classified files. I don't think that his residence would be that deeply classified, you know?
Okay.
They don't really hide anything from each other for the most part over here. They just, I guess, hide it from you guys.
Um, does the classified information say who the lead was? If there is a surviving lead on this life force investigation in this experiment?
Not only did they lose 40% of the like access to the station for those amount of years, but anyone that was down there died.
Yeah, that tracks. No
Huge
survivors.
amounts of loss. Yeah, huge lives lost.
So many alarm bells. Now I'm sad. I'm sad that I'm gonna have to go on a mission next session and not continue to investigate this because I want to go on like
No, 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 no. This
another.
is
I
an
want to go
arc.
on more solo missions.
This is an intro to an arc. It won't be a solo missions, but this is an intro to a station arc, so we're not like
As a
leaving the
player, as a
station.
player, as a player, can I ask how many sessions you have planned as a station arc before we go on our next mission?
Uh Me shaking my head no is not no, you can't ask. I don't. My thought would be two probably with the whole crew, so two more beyond this one.
Okay.
It just
Okay.
depends. Like you've already gotten all this information. Um,
They did.
if you just dive in and tackle all of it, maybe it makes sense that the crew does leave next episode. But I just don't really think that we're gonna be able to parse all of
No,
this on your
no,
own without the crew.
you've given me so much to investigate. There's like Gabe the player thought that he had one can of worms to open on arrival, and it feels like he has like three.
I've been trying to figure out
Um,
the best way to frame the amount of cans of worms that are opening.
man. Oh
So
man.
we have a station arc and then like a what I would call probably the closer arc for the current like campaign, but I don't like closer arc like I mean my goal was to kind of end it with a time skip, but it is totally dependent. Like this is huge and pivotal, so it really just depends on our actions in this if we even make it to the next. arc. Like things could massively change based on what goes down the station this time.
Here's the thing is that I don't it's possible that this supersedes the investigation he was already on.
Totally
Like,
possible, yeah.
okay. Um I don't Cola is probably relying on Cluster to sort of discern some leads on like what has happened with Pevins and where Pevins may have gone and those sorts of leads. So I think what Cola's going to do is head to Rake's residence and wait there for him to come home from work. And um I think while like when he arrives, he wants to discern realities in the residence before Rake gets home.
Okay.
That's the intention.
So let's rewind a bit as you're leaving the bridge in HQ. Cluster hits you over the radio, over your little comms, and says, "Hey, boss, I we're getting the container into place. I'll of course get the shop all set up for us. Uh, no, yeah, of course we'll be opening up our doors rather soon." He shouts off into the distance. And he says, "Is there anything you'd like me to be taking care of as I set up the shop? Anything specific you want me to look into around here?"
Sir, you best prepare for a long haul on this investigation. This goes way deeper than HQ assumed it would.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm making you the primary on the Pevins investigation. I want you to take charge on investigating the activities and whereabouts of both Pevins and a Delta Dawn a recent Delta Dawn employee, a cook appropriately named Cookie Rubbins. Um,
Heavens and Grubbins. I can look into that. You're sure you're okay giving me lead on the whole thing? This is your mission.
It is unorthodox, I know, but my initial investigation has revealed information that requires my direct attendance.
Oh,
Um,
oh, yeah, yeah, boss. I'll look into them. I'll let you know when I find out when I have some files together for you to check out.
yeah, I will brief you on further details should they become relevant. Um, all of this is above top classified. We are in a we are in a code navy situation. Um,
Yeah, of
this
course.
mhm. It's a degree above teal. Uh, um,
No doubt, boss. We're just here to sell some records and carry these sweet vinyl tunes across the stars.
your cover is no longer a priority. Your priority is intelligence gathering. Um,
You hear him
maintain
reclose up a box.
maintain cover while on premises of your domicile, but otherwise we are uh we are code navy and intelligence gathering is now the priority. uh
Gotcha, boss. I'm on it. Uh, and you find yourself as the line hangs up outside of the door to Rake's living quarters. It is locked at the moment.
would I have some sort of an override or no?
I mean, I think that you know how to do this. I think that it would probably be like a defy danger, intelligence,
Defy
or
danger.
wisdom, probably. Because we've used less locks as like lock picking locks and more as like using the tech to open them, you know?
I don't have tech for that. I don't even have the ability for tech for that.
No, so that's why I'm
Um,
thinking just like a basic defy danger to use the tech that's there to try to open it.
all right. Then I'm going to, I guess, defy danger intelligence to try and get into there. That is a 10.
This lock is nothing for you. You've gotten through much harder locks, and the locks on this station are like paper clips. You just bend it open and the whole door slides open. You go in, it closes like normal. You don't bend and break anything. You just open it up. Inside is a pretty messy single living space. Smaller than you would expect for a second in command of the station. It's basically just like a bed, a couch, a TV, and a small kitchen area, all of which is pretty messy or cluttered.
Just one room.
Just one room. Slightly large, but
No,
I guess a
no
bathroom.
other exit other than the one that I just came through.
Mm-mm.
I um hmm. Then I'm going to discern realities on this, and then once I've done that, I think I'm going to station myself sort of next to the door so that when Rake enters, I can block the exit.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay, so first off, the discern realities, that is a wisdom roll. I have +0 to wisdom. That is an 8.
Ask one question.
Ask one question. Discern realities. Hmm. What should I be on the lookout for?
It's weird to you that this is a one bedroom or a one room living quarters. Um, I don't think that you particularly examined the files of like the layouts of these places, but you skimmed them and you don't recall actually seeing any single room living quarters. Um, you think that there should be another room off of this room, but upon this inspection, there's no doors, there's no halls, there's no nothing.
Mm-mm-mm. The thick plotting.
It gets plotter and plotter.
It really does. This is some oh man. All right. All right. Let's see.
I will say though, with this, you get that thought, and I mean, your goal is waiting till Ray comes home from work, but as you're like peering around, you've been in here a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes. You're just like peeking under stuff. You actually hear some clicks and beeps outside the door. You can tell someone is putting in the passcode to enter the domicile.
I need to hit the restroom and then I want to quickly check out my set of moves again to see if there's something I want to do either immediately or soon after he enters this space.
Sure, sure, sure. I'm gonna also use the bathroom while
Yeah.
you're doing that. Be
I
right back, folks. All right. How are your moves looking?
Got distracted. All right, let's see.
I don't think so.
Use discern realities of someone when you discern the realities of somebody who can use.
Well, you can use Inquisitive Eyes on. So basically, you just have to have not lied to them.
Okay, I see. I see.
Yeah, if you haven't lied to them in Eyes, you can use Inquisitive Intuition on them. Or if you just haven't
Interesting.
tried it on them yet.
And I am on mission right now, right?
You are on mission, correct, correct. After this is resolved, and, if we're just, like, existing here, you will not technically be on mission anymore, but for now you are.
I okay. Then in that case, I think I don't have any move prepped, but I do think that I'm going to use inquisitive eyes on them the moment that I'm going to use inquisitive eyes on him the moment he enters the room, and then we'll see what what we get after that.
Are you just sort of standing on the other side of the room
I'm
staring at the door? Are you trying to, like, hide in the shadows and let him come in?
No, we're gonna hide in the shadows and let him come in. To we want him in the room before we start doing whatever it is that we're gonna do here.
Okay, then I think it makes sense that you hide on basically the other side of the door. And as Captain Rake, the door opens and Captain Rake enters in. He crosses the room. He has like a little doggy bag in his hands, and he goes to the fridge. He opens it up and throws the doggy bag in. He stretches a bit, and he's like,
And
"Oh, guess it's time back to work." And he turns around and he stops.
we're in the shadows and we want to use inquisitive eyes before, like, as he's on his way to the fridge.
Great.
Inquisitive eyes. Inquisitive eyes, I think in this moment we're gonna ask, what do you not want me to know? And
As he
because he hasn't here's I'm gonna make a pitch, and feel free to just tell me if I'm wrong. But I feel like based on what you've told me about the way the room is laid out, the only thing that he could not want me to know, having not realized that I'm there yet, is where the rest of this room
I was
is.
100% trying to figure out how he could do that. And I think it's through okay, so there is a little bit of carpet in here that sets up over the living area, and then the kitchen area is that sort of vellum tile. Um There is a strip of carpet that goes in between the couch and the fridge, right up to the wall. It makes sense that this is where the door would be. There just is nothing there to show that. There might even be like a little table there. Um, he walks over, and there is a painting on this wall that is just a little crooked, and he like carefully resets it back into place. And then goes to the fridge. You get the sense that there's something here on this wall that he is protecting. Um,
Okay, and then he turns, and I'm not hidden that, like, I'm not trying to hide in the
I
shadows.
imagine
Like,
that he
I'm
turns around and stops because he sees you. It's like obvious that you're
yeah,
hidden there.
I sidestep when he when he goes to the painting or whatever, or the picture, I sidestep in front of the door.
His question to you is, what are your present intentions?
See no reason not to answer this truthfully. I need to know what he knows. My intention is to find out what he knows. And I think now
Uh, what are you doing in my domicile here, stranger? His hand is on his belt.
it's on his belt that
Uh
his hand could be on.
there is the handle of a can't remember what I've been calling them, a plasma axe.
Hard light.
A hard light axe. The handle of that rests on we'll say right under his hand. He's like basically debating on whether he should draw his weapon or not. Mostly because he doesn't know who you are. If there was literally, I think, anyone on the station in his domicile, he would not be responding with like possibly drawing a weapon. But he's never seen your face before. And so he's showing some slight signs of defensive aggression.
Understandable.
And he's like, you have you found yourself here in my little domicile, friend? Stranger, not friend?
I see no need for pleasantries here. You should have. I know you have been forewarned of my arrival, Officer Rake.
Uh, the from the ISC? And he drops his sort of guard or his sort of grip almost on the weapon, and he it's like yeah, I knew you guys were coming. I just didn't know you'd get out here this fast. Well,
We have our ways.
I'm certain you do. Why here? Wouldn't this be better suited conversation for my office?
Officer and Cola has a light chuckle at the word office. Um, uh, your desk
Hmm.
is a bit too public of a space for the conversation I intend to have with you.
Okay.
What can you tell me? What time? Here's something that I probably would have found out, but I didn't ask. When was the when was this power outage? How long ago was this event?
I think the longest time frame I've given, which is the one I'll go for, is 10 years. So 10 years ago was when they lost the 40% of the power from the station.
Was Rick an officer at that point as well?
He might have been on this station. I don't know that he held his current seat.
Interesting. All right. Um, what can you tell me of the disaster of 10 years ago?
Well, let's
And
go forward.
I'm just so you know, there's no like prepared action sort of mechanic in this system, but I am as prepared as I can be to use my what is it called? To use my insta bind.
Okay. Yeah,
Not yet,
prepared to do
but
that.
yeah, what can you tell me of the disaster of 10 years ago
I,
and why it wasn't reported to our agency.
Uh, that's a lot all at once. Uh, disaster 10 years ago. There was the big explosion on the station, down in the old science bay. Life form got out of control and expanded beyond anyone's expectations. It took out the old science bay and has sort of blocked up all of our attempts at entering that portion of the station. We haven't, and he's sort of just spilling. He's just like word vomiting. He's like, We haven't had access to our to any portion of that part of the station since then. Not the warp engines, not the the living quarters down there, none of the old sciences, nothing down there. Just haven't been able to access it since.
Time to use my lie detector. Because I don't trust him one bit. And the mechanic for that is I roll plus intelligence. A lot of intelligence rolls.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That definitely
And
fits
that is a
the agent, I feel.
that's a 10. So it just works and it can go again.
He's telling the truth.
So
Nothing he has said so far is a lie. Will's even say that. I mean, that's just like offhand for you. That like beeps in your ear that you're telling the truth. That no other real note of that. It's like I was a crew member here at the time. Wet and wild.
what exactly was your position at the time?
A crew member. I was going out on the exploratory forces with my crew. To
And your role rate?
I was the combat officer.
And how did you receive your promotion to your current station?
Hard work. I've been working my way up since then.
Be specific.
Uh, uh, missions on missions on missions, successes on missions, important, just I found this planet when it had its when it still had the metallic veins running through it before we got that. I discovered this planet and brought the and pointed the whole Delta exploration station in this direction.
Mendable, I'm sure. Now, why wasn't our agency informed of these experiments on an unknown life form
I
and the disasters it caused subsequently?
That one is a little bit out of my pay grade. That's not on my shoulders to be uh
And yet the information was on your workstation.
uh-huh. Uh-huh. Hey, only not too many people can keep old Captain Rake from talking about his.
Officer, great.
Yes.
Let's not, let's dispense with the falsities, officer.
Oh, no, I was leader of my old crew. Captain is just what we've always gone for. Here on the Delta, I'm just known as the captain.
As you are well aware, I am not a member of the Delta.
Uh,
Let us
yes.
speak plainly and honestly, and then we will get along without any need for unpleasantness.
Wasn't in my clearance to be able to tell you guys in the first place. Classified above my head. Not
By
information wise. I mean, who's the that would be the captain. That would be Captain Marjorie Vernon.
we're gonna add Marjorie Brennan. Captain Marjorie to our list of leads.
I need to talk to you again.
Oh yeah, now we might show up in her residence.
You know, yeah, I've been around the station for quite some time. Usually things like this we would report to you guys right away, but she locked it up. She locked it up tight. She locked it up fast.
Suspicious. I think then, since he's been, as far as I can tell, telling the truth and been forthright, uh, the way to press further is going to be, um, okay, Cola pushes past Rake and removes the picture that he adjusted in his first entrance to the scene.
Yeah, you
What
move
do we
it.
see? What's here?
Well, when
And
you
how does Rake react to this?
uh
If Rake reacts negatively, we're probably going to insta-bind him.
you sort of have to move almost past him as you go to this wall. And he makes a start like he's going to try to stop you. But it seems sort of just like almost like muscle memory. When he remembers who you are in front of him, he stops himself. And as you click
Wise officer.
the painting on the wall to the side, the whole wall slides over and into itself and reveals another room a little smaller than this room, the size of living quarter you expected to see between these two rooms. This one is dim, it's dark in here. There are papers and maps and printouts just all over the wall, almost like just an insane person's investigation. There's yarn going from point to point, pictures and various things all over the walls. It's a lot to take in as this door opens. He's like,
Explain this now.
I I've been doing my own sort of investigation into all this recently, maybe or recently over the past since it happened, 10 years, trying to figure out why some of this has been swept under the rug. And you look around this room. There's a lot of strange shit in here. Maps of the station, maps of the ventilation cutting up and down through the station, ways to. It looks like there's paths on one to get from the. Actually, just like various points of the station, the food node 2 production, the markets, the command center, ways to get from anywhere on the station to down below through the ventilation, through walls of machines that are just there to be machines. There are pictures of these weird small life forms. It's a little grainy in the picture. It looks like security footage zoomed in almost, of these little three-legged fleshy eye stalks that are caught just like in the edges around a corner. There's only one in the center, and it's the best focused image of it. The rest are little blobs off in the corner of photos. And it is carrying with another produced arm out of its body, carrying this little mass, and this little mass is of a very opalescent blue stone that it just carries above its head as it is moving down the hallway. And
The purpose of your investigation. Summarize.
I there's the purpose of my investigation is to how to get down there and figure out what is going on. And he points to the life form in the picture. He's like, these things have been spotted on and off throughout the station. Not much more than that, just a blur out of our vision. This is literally the best representation we've had of them ever. And they move throughout the station. They take things here and there. They move things throughout the station. And they always seem to return. And he pulls out another sheet from under a stack of papers, and it shows you the docking bay. And in the docking bay, it's things look only a little different than they did when you were just there. And that difference is that those boxes and that banner are not there, and there is a door. But this door, I mean, it looks like it should just be a normal door, but there's this weird pink fleshy growth coming out of the center of the crack in the door, growing all over the door and looking like just basically blocking off this door. Uh, but, putting two and two together, you see how you could have stacked the boxes and the banners to hide pretty much all of this. It doesn't seem that it's grown more than in this picture, but that is what is blocking the door. And he's like, and they always return here, and they're able to just move through it. It seems to open for them. And I just want to get to the bottom of what these things are. I don't know if they're causing harm to my station. I don't know if they're causing harm to the
Is
people that
that
we
why
protect.
you've neglected to report this to our agency?
Again, that's sort of above my head. I owe everything to Captain Marjorie. She's my captain. Not much that I can really uh do to go over
And
her head and not blow up
potentially
my
a
spot.
traitor to her species.
Well, that would be a large portion of why I'd like to continue this investigation as well. I trust Marjorie with my life. She's never shown any signs of being a traitor to her species. Uh, but I'd like to get to the bottom of that myself as well.
I intuit that you seem more useful without incapacitation. As proof of this,
Say I'm pretty useful.
what what can you tell me about Jeremy Pevins and Cookie Grubbin?
Uh, Bevins, here for you guys, doing the investigation with the for an invasive species. He asked lots of questions about Cookie Grubbins, but his investigation seemed to turn up null. And he, by the time she left on her last mission, he had not another thought of her.
And you have no notion of the basis for his investigation into Cookie Grubbins?
Well, I mean, he's an he's an invasive species agent, so I'd imagine that I have a notion of his purpose of his investigation. But I sort of just thought that the purpose of his investigation was coming to the Delta to look for an invasive species. I thought maybe there had been some word caught of these things, and he points at the creature on the wall again. But I mean, mostly he seemed interested in Cookie, and then his investigation must have come to a close because, like I said, he just started becoming a part of station life. He started checking out a lot more into the tech bay and helping out some of our scientists there.
I'm gonna use my lie detector again. Because it seems important. Uh, that is a 9. So
Okay.
on a 9, I pick 1. The machine shorts and begins running erratically. Take -1 going forward until to use this machine until it is repaired.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Trying to think about what I just said.
Uh,
Kevin's was looking into Cookie, stopped looking into her when she left. Um, no, I think he's telling the truth on this one. I was mostly looking for a spot in there in which I could almost make into a lie, you know, progress things in that way, but it doesn't. I think he's telling the truth on these.
tricky. Tricky indeed. Because in when I was Cookie, it felt like Rick knew what was up, but I never for sure knew what Rick knew.
Hmm,
All I
that
know
is
is that Rick,
interesting because he did give you a warning, and why would he have
yeah,
given you a
he gave
warning?
Rick a heads up, or he gave Cookie a heads up about Heaven. Like he was the one who warned Cookie that Heavens was coming.
No, you're right. You're right, and that would have had to have been because he knew that Pevins was coming for Cookie. Otherwise, why would he be telling Cookie this situation?
Exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
so then I guess he is lying. Triggers that he's lying. Let me just figure out in what way he's lying. Because he knew Pevins
Yeah,
was coming for
please.
Cookie. Um well, no, I guess he still is telling the truth because he knew Pevins was coming for Cookie, but Pevins came, Pevins did his thing, seemed focused on Cookie. From Rake's point of view, asked lots of questions on Cookie. And then Cookie
Here's
left
the
on her
thing is
last
that
mission, and he
mm,
hasn't mentioned her one bit.
I guess that means I should have used my lie detector one question earlier.
On what which
'Cause
question?
My very first my first question regarding Pevins was the connection between Pevins and Cookie Grubbins.
Okay, and then I think I went into all that detail. Okay, okay. Let's see if I could just find a way to narrate this into place. Pevins. So Pevins was here to investigate Cookie. That much was made clear by Pevins's report. Uh, but it seems whatever he found, caused him to stop that thought entirely. One day he was asking all sorts of leading questions the way that you are. The next day, he is speaking of his living quarters and missions that he can go on here on the station. And we've just not I've never seen an invasive species agent attempt to ingrain themselves in the culture like that. Usually you folks, you come in, you do your investigation and you're out. Maybe you attempt to hide a little bit while you're here, but never I've never seen the relaxation that he influenced that last day before he went a little off the rails. So not lying, but he gave you some more information, I guess. He were barfed a little bit more.
Do I did I still expend that lie detector then?
No, you can take that back because I didn't. That wasn't really in the frame of lie
Okay.
detecting.
Okay. Okay. Um, and you have no notion of his whereabouts since then? Do you
Uh,
have any notion of his last known location?
the last piece of information I got that he was running from the tech and science bay after causing damage to the doctors and assistants there. Uh,
In what direction?
he seemed to be heading towards the just keep losing track of my words. The living quarters on the station, but none of the cameras showed him entering into that area. So we've locked it down. People are have doors locked and are safe in their specific quarters, but he's just sort of missing on the station.
The list of leads. Heavens. Living quarters. I have lots to do during the station arc. Um, let's see. Because it seems like this mission is mostly just going to be lead gathering. Um, and then investigation will be it'll be interesting to see how much, because I have no reason to integrate myself with the crew yet. That's something that I've got to resolve now. I've got to resolve.
We know that your character would want to be close with the crew once you find out about a further connection between Pevins and Cookie.
Yeah,
Then it would
Cookie
make
is a
sense that
person
you
of
would
interest,
tie
so it would make
yourself to the
sense.
crew. But until then, I
I
totally
think
agree.
actually then, yeah, I think actually you make an excellent point because like neither of us know that Cookie has died right now.
Correct. Yes.
Um, so now I think you have proven yourself to be useful and informative.
That's what I do here.
I will give you one last chance to solidify that for us.
Right? What can I do?
I wish you no.
No.
You are ordered to insert me into the crew containing Cookie Grubbins as the pilot.
Uh,
I will go on future missions with them in order to ascertain what her connection is with Jeremy Pevin on their next mission.
yeah. Okay. Do you have any sort of ways you want me to go about doing this? Because if I just sort of saddle up and throw an invasive species agent on the team, they're not going to be, I don't imagine, excited or particularly
Obviously,
open.
you do not introduce me as an invasive species agent. As my briefing suggests, their crew lacks a pilot
That is,
and a capable pilot is necessary for a mission to an unknown, unexplored planet. If you were to send them to an unexplored planet, they would need a capable pilot, and that is a role that I can fulfill for them.
this is,
Using that cover, insert me into their crew so that I may observe them firsthand.
this is fair.
Do not, do not give any indication that I have any ulterior motive beyond the interest in piloting to an unknown location. I will pose as a pilot using my same name with an interest in exploring the unknown and interacting with cultures that are not my own.
Indeed. It would be sort of part of our investigation that upon their return, we definitely have plans on investigating Cookie Grubbins and her connection to Jeremy Pevins. But that's really the best lead that we got is that he was investigating her. Then she left, and then he went crazy. It's sort of a loose lead, but it's the best that we got right now. So when she comes back, we planned on pulling her in for an interrogation, her and the crew, just to provide them with their safety cards, make sure all's well there. What is there anything you'd like us to leave out besides, of course, your involvement? What? How would you like us to handle this investigation?
The investigation can proceed as planned. I will not make myself present for the investigation itself. I will simply observe from a separate room.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
You will not report to Captain Marjorie Vernon of this encounter. She is now considered a person of interest in my investigation and should be treated as such. If your assumption of loyalty and usefulness is to continue, you will not inform her that we have had this conversation. Do I make myself clear?
Y- So you do to me the DM. You also though have this. Hold on.
I don't think I've taken I haven't taken the arm of the agency move.
No, but you have knowledge is power.
Oh, okay. I don't know that that quite
I don't think it
flies here.
does. Yeah, I don't
I
think
don't
it
think Rick
does.
is my comrade,
No, 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 no. You're
unless
right.
his proof of trustworthiness makes him one, but I don't think it does. I
No,
think it
this
just
would
makes him
position
not a
of
person of
authority was
interest.
definitely, I think, the one I was thinking of.
I like wait, position of oh, I see,
The
I
one you
see.
don't. Yeah, the one you don't have. I was just like scrolling down. I
Yeah,
remember there being
yeah,
something about this. So
arm of the agency I think would be um the most relevant to this moment, but I haven't taken that, which is d- now that I've decided to play the character this way, uh I mean, during this mission, this introductory mission, I'm playing him gloves off. I'm trying to still sort of in my brain put together his cover. I'm trying to sort of my idea is that he's going to be the only thing that I've thought about for his cover is that he loves his mom. And that he calls his mom every night. And that's his cover
oh,
for
that's a
reporting
cover.
back to the that's his cover for reporting back to the agency is that he loves his mom and that he reports back to her every night or like he calls her every night to tell her about his adventures. Um I don't know much else beyond that, but that's what I've got. But right now we're not undercover. We are the arm of the agency without having that move. We are just role playing
Parlay then.
as much menace as we've got. Parlay is a charisma roll.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 7. And
He will
so
do what you ask, but first you need to promise him.
some concrete assurance of your promise right now.
Uh, um. Let me think. Um, Rake. When you say all that, he says, I'm fine, but you're not gonna hurt Captain Marjorie, are you?"
Is that relevant?
She she may know more than she's let on, but she's good at heart. She's not a bad person. If you want my help in any of this, you have to ensure me that is, of course, as long as she's not like an invasive species hiding among us, that she's gonna be okay.
I will not eliminate her. I believe that she can be of more use to us cooperatively than coercively.
As long as you assure her safety, I will lend what aid I can to help you get to the bottom of this.
I will assure you her survival as well as your own.
Mm. That
That is all that I can promise as a representative of my agency.
well, I know you guys can do a
Given
lot
the
worse than
deception, given the deception that she has already proven.
uh okay. All right.
I don't know
This
if
is
that
fair.
fulfills the parlay. Like this is that's just what he would say if that doesn't mean that he's gonna like fly with this, that's fine.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's what he would say.
Yep. Captain Rake nods and yeah, are you done here in Rake's area?
I Before I leave, I would like to discern realities on his secret room
Okay.
because I haven't done that yet. I should have done that when I opened that before I interrogated him. Um, but I just discern realities is a wisdom, so I just rolled a 6. So instead, I will take my second experience point. I'm yeah,
The only
hard
thing
move me.
that sticks with you is that image of the creature on the wall. The way something about it feels off for you. That like triggers your fight response, right? You have a flight or fight. You don't really have a flight response, I'd imagine. You're sort of
Oh
gung ho
no,
into the fight.
I'm fight only.
But this triggers your fight response in a way that like only coming up against like invasive species has done. And you can't really like put a finger to that. It's not like you're getting a sense of this thing's personality from seeing it, but you have no idea of what class of species this thing could belong to. And without that knowledge, like you're pretty set in stone that there is an invasive species on this ship.
All right. Cola turns to go and then turns back. Um, and says, and points to the opalescent stone that is being carried by the one
Uh-huh.
that is in the picture, and and he touches it. And he's like, "What can you tell me about this?"
Oh, I don't know. Uh, a crew brought that back from a mission. They had gone to one of the Aquans, one of the Aquan planets to help with a local problem, and were given an extra reward. This the sea stone, heart of the sea, it's called locally. They had plans to study it, maybe use it in some specific, sort of nature tech, but they lost it. They couldn't find it, and this is the only frame we even have in the security footage of what happened to it.
I suppose I don't have classified. I wouldn't because I don't have the advanced move, the the database. I don't have the database move.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna spout lore anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just on this aqua stone.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So that's an 8.
An 8.
Interesting, not useful.
You've heard of the heart of the sea from these Aquan planets. There's like a list of 10 water-based planets that orbit a star of their own, and there's lots of minerals on these planets that are only found on these 10 planets in your entire system. I mean, Heart of the Sea is one of them. It is extremely rare mineral. Really good use in controlling water. No, controlling water feels different. Really good use. The Aquan priests often tie Heart of the Sea to sort of clairvoyant powers. That's just sort of lore, like rumor, basically. It's nothing. I don't think that it's nothing that you've ever needed to come up in front of in any of your missions. You've not gone to Aquans. You've not touched Heart of the Sea or really had any experience with it, but you've heard those stories.
All right. Um, okay. Um,
Anything else in this room?
I I don't think so at this point. I think Cola says I appreciate your cooperation. I expect that we will have more of these conversations in the future. I expect the same level of cooperation then.
Of course, of course. Whatever I can do to help. I want the people on this station to be safe.
As do I.
Uh, um,
The safety of the people of this situation is tantamount. You will be hearing from me.
eh,
And Cola leaves.
great. Cola leaves, and hmm, you get a buzzer, little ringer in your ear. It's Cluster. Hey boss, I found some security footage from nearby. Looks like they have a local nightclub. Sort of button up to. Looking at the schematics, it's kind of same area that the living quarters button up to that quartered off portion of the station. Uh, the security camera footage picked up Pevins clearing through the sheeting and back into that area of the station, the sort of uninhabited portion. If we're looking
Good
for a spot on Pevins, I'd say he's back in there.
Good work, Lester. I will investigate that imminently. Uh, Continue to ingratiate yourself within society. I will brief you on the continued details of this mission as they develop.
Perfect, perfect. And I'll let you know if I find anything else, boss. And the line clicks. Hmm.
I think that sort of feels like a good spot to end it. I think I have a lot of leads to pursue over station time.
Yes. Yes. The crew will be returning to the station in about a week from your time being on the station.
Oh, all right.
Because Cookie died, and then the next day, which is what triggered Pevins, we know as players.
Okay. So there's 5-ish days before they get back.
Yes. And I I don't
I
want to
mean, we
do an
can,
entire another session with these 5 days. But I would
but
when we
we've been on session for a few hours now.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
As far as an episode goes, this is definitely the end of said episode. I just am trying to figure out narratively. Next time we come back, we're all together. There's all of us here, so it doesn't make sense to do an hour and a half of finishing up this time and then playing with them. So my thought would be think about what Cola does in these last 5 days, the approach Cola takes to this thing, and we can when we start, I'll probably start with like how did Cola spend the rest of that week in what kind of focus areas, and then we'll dive into the crew
See.
returning. I feel like fits the
I think
most.
then I think then I will what I imagine it's going to be is interviews of the non-essential to my notion personnel on his list of, and that's written down on my character sheet, um on his list of of leads.
Yeah.
um so it's basically, let's just quick swap over and have a look. I can delete Rake from this list. um I think the only people I think the leads on here that I would want to do narratively would be Old Lady Weathers, Captain Marjorie, and Heaven's living quarters. So I think in the interim he's probably investigating um uh um Dr. Porpoise, Beaker Boyd, and everything to do with what Pevins was looking into before his episode.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, and then after those 5 days, you'll move on to the portion of your investigation that is the other 3 people that you actually want to do in person, right? That way we
Agreed.
can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. So then we will leave off as you exit Captain Rake's domicile and head towards the area that what's his name mentioned. Um
Lester?
Fucking cluster, yeah. So bad with names. Um yeah. Yep, yep, yep. Which we can also touch base on, or we can explore as a crew when we have everyone, and you can like lead them back there. If you guys explore together, I don't know how this is gonna go. I'm very interested to see how the crew responds, and sort of what goes down. But session and questions important for you. I would mark 1 experience because you got your alignment. you did do that, and I always forget alignment. So if I don't do it now, I will forget. Mark 1 experience because you did your alignment once.
Understood.
Whatever we talked about with cluster, we definitely didn't do, right? Whatever that bond was, so that bond is fine.
Yep.
All right, so questions. Did you discover something new or important about the world?
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Did you beat
I
any
did.
notable
I didn't loot.
enemies or treasure?
No and no.
Nope. All right. So one extra experience then from those end of session questions, and another one for your alignment. And
I'm at 4 total.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When we come back, make sure that we have a cluster Jorgen bond. And if possible, it might make sense to have another bond from someone that we've spoken to on the station or that you are investigating. It doesn't have to be someone we've spoken to out loud. You know, you could have made a bond
It's
with Meek
gonna
or
be Cat
Boyd.
Marjorie. I haven't quite discerned what the wording of that is yet, but the bond is with Marjorie.
Okay, I
She
like
is
that.
the prime suspect now.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, cool. When we come back, we'll touch base on that like week of investigation for you and kind of what that sits as the crew returns, and then we can actually get into the investigation portion of it.
Wild, because I definitely thought that Cookie was gonna be the prime focus of this investigation, and she no longer is. She's now the secondary focus of this investigation.
Who's the prime focus? Vernon?
Um, yeah, it's Captain Marjorie and this flagrant violation of ISC code.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a huge one. A hurdle I've been attempting to tackle since we began this campaign.
Well, I'm glad I've given you the vehicle to do so.
Yeah. This is all good stuff. Sweet. Awesome. I think that is going to do it for this recording. I'm gonna wait a few
Sounds
seconds
good.
because it always cuts early.